Chapter 2258. Damn it, I still have to kill giant beasts, how troublesome. Zhu Xing frowned. He felt very unhappy, but he could only make an oath. Killing so many giant beasts before was already troublesome enough. Now I still have to kill 500 giant beasts to get rid of this oath. How annoying. Zhu Xing's face was filled with disgust. He hated doing such things, but he could only do it. Looks like you hate killing giant beasts? Yi Tianyun looked at him indifferently. That's right, I hate killing giant beasts. Why do you want me to kill giant beasts for no reason? What does the life and death of the outside world have to do with me? As long as they don't offend me, I don't care. Now we still have to look for giant beasts to kill? Where are we going to look? Zhu Xing was most worried about where to look for giant beasts for Major Star venerates. Now that the giant beast clan has basically been exterminated, there's not even a trace of them left. How are we going to find 500 giant beasts to kill? Jing Xian frowned. She was also worried about this matter. Although there was no time limit, there was always a thought lingering in his mind. If he didn't complete the oath, there would be a knot in his heart. It would cause his thoughts to be blocked, which would be detrimental to his cultivation. This was why they were so dissatisfied even though there was no time limit. Has the giant beast clan been annihilated? Yi Tianyun smiled indifferently. They still didn't know the situation of the giant beast clan. They were all kept in the dark. They didn't know how many members of the giant beast clan had infiltrated the giant beast clan. Even now, many members of the giant beast clan had already infiltrated the giant beast clan. A batch of them had been cleared out before, but now more had infiltrated. This was enough to show how much the colossal beast race was willing to spend. Other than the giant beast race, he also discovered that the evil spirit race and the green demon race had mixed in. If not for the fact that he was the owner of the violet gold divine pavilion, he might not have known that they had entered. The more the better. When the time comes, we'll kill them all. Yi Tianyun's eyes turned cold. When their numbers increased, he would kill them all. Here, he was the absolute master, and no one could escape his control. Unless their cultivation was heaven-defying or they weren't in the violet gold divine pavilion, they would all be under his control. For now, he would let them jump around for a while. When he found a place with no one around, he would catch them and harvest them. After Tian Kuangyue and the others entered, they also took an oath. If they didn't take the oath, they wouldn't be able to obtain the treasures. Most of the geniuses of the clans were able to pass the test of the 4 guards. It wasn't that the difficulty of the guards wasn't high, but the higher one's cultivation, the higher the difficulty. The key was that the guards would not kill them. If they failed, they could try again until they succeeded. They were supposed to fight against the behemoths. If they all died here, who would fight against the behemoths? There was difficulty, but it wasn't that exaggerated. It still required a bit of ability. No matter what, it was a selection of battle prowess, not the strongest disciple, so the requirements weren't that harsh. Just as they were thinking about how to find a behemoth to kill, the old man suddenly said, "All of you have successfully sworn your oaths. Now move to the Mount Numinous trial area." With that said, he waved his hand, and all of them were swept into the spiritual mountain. It was a familiar scene. Yi Tianyun had been to the training area of the Spirit Mountain a long time ago. It was the 10th level area, and nothing had changed. It was still the same Spirit Mountain full of godly medicines. It seemed like the so-called opportunity was just the purple cloud star emperor moving the broken honor flower over, adding another treasure. Originally, this was a kind of reward, so that they could challenge it and slightly stimulate them. This is the Spirit Mountain training area, and there are a total of 10 levels. The old man started explaining the place as soon as he moved them over. It was exactly the same as what he had explained to Yi Tianyun, and he followed the procedure. These were the array spirits that had been set up here, and they would definitely complete their tasks. After listening, they were all extremely excited. They didn't expect that there would be such a trial. Especially when they saw that there were many godly medicines that suited them, they were even more excited. Great, there's the wood remnant grass that I want, which can improve my ability. Zhu Xing's eyes lit up, and he stared excitedly at the godly medicines on the 8th level. He wanted to start the trial immediately. It wasn't just him. Tian Kuangyue also turned his attention to the godly medicines on the 8th level. It was obvious that there were godly medicines that they needed. While they were excited, all the clans outside the gate also saw the situation here. It was obvious that this was the area where the trial officially began, so they could see the situation here in detail. What a huge spirit mountain! If we can collect all the godly medicines on the top, the power of our clans will definitely increase by a lot. Chu Hutong's eyes lit up. Even though their clans were huge, they couldn't help but look greedy at the sight of so many godly medicines. It's a pity that we can only get one stock of godly medicine on each level. It would be great if we could collect all of them. The elders of the Zhu family all felt that it was a pity. Bring back a little more. Tian Yueming's eyes lit up. Both Tian Kuangyue and Tian Xinghuan hoped that they would bring back a little more, so that they could have all the godly medicines. The more Tian Xinghuan took, the better. If they really wanted to leave, they would have to hand over the godly medicines. While they were all hoping that the disciples they sent out would come back with so many godly medicines, Yi Tianyan, who was below the Spirit Mountain training area, smiled. He pointed his finger gently, and Zhu Xing and Tian Kuangyue, who had wanted to participate in the trial, disappeared into thin air. The next moment, they appeared outside the gate. They still had that excited expression on their faces, as if they were ready to snatch the godly medicines. When they came to their senses, they were dumbfounded. We don't know that we are going to participate in the trial. Zhu Xing was stunned. He looked at the familiar scene in front of him, and the familiar people. Everything seemed so strange. Tian Kuangyue was the same. They were all stunned and didn't know what was going on. The elders of the Zhu family and the Tian family looked over with their eyes wide open. They didn't know what was going on. We were teleported out. Zhu Xing and the others finally realized what was going on. They were inexplicably teleported out. Then why don't you go back and try? The elders of the Zhu family urged Zhu Xing to go back. Zhu Xing nodded and quickly walked towards the gate. Just as he walked over, he bumped into the light gate above and bounced back. Not to mention going back, he couldn't even enter. Tian Kuangyue also tried, but he also couldn't enter. He was completely blocked outside, just like the others. At this time, in the Spirit Mountain training area, some people had already started to challenge. They weren't teleported out, but they could challenge freely without any difficulty. What's going on? Their faces turned black. Why were they the only ones who were kicked out? What did they do? They didn't know what they had done wrong, but Yi Tianyan knew. It was because they had provoked Yi Tianyan. It was that simple. If they hadn't made an oath to kill the giant beast, he would have killed the two of them. Chapter 2259. Zhu Xing and Tian Kuangyue had been teleported out. Only they had been teleported out. The people outside were baffled. The people inside were also baffled. They did not know what had happened. Very inexplicably, two people disappeared. All of a sudden, he had caused them to panic. Who knew if they would be the next one to suffer? It would be troublesome if they were teleported out. It would take them a long time to run back in. The key was whether they could come in or not. They did not know what was going on outside. Of course, they did not know the details. No matter what was going on inside, the people outside knew what was going on. They could not go in. They could only watch helplessly from outside. This was the most painful part. Why? I did not do anything wrong. Why can't I go in? Zhu Xing kept hitting the light screen. A force bounced him off. With his ability, how could he smash this place open? He would only send himself flying. Tian Kuangyue was calmer outside. He was watching the scene on the light screen. He had not expected such a thing to happen. However, he could only accept it. Damn it! What's going on? The elders of the Zhu clan did not know what was going on. They could only watch helplessly from outside. No one knew what was going on, including Tian Yueming. He was also dumbfounded. Fortunately, there were still people inside, namely Heavenly Star Ring. The Zhu clan had also sent people inside. However, Zhu Xing, the most outstanding one, had been driven out. Wasn't this a slap in the face? While the people outside were on the verge of exploding, Yi Tianyan was quite calm inside. How come Zhu Xing and Tian Kuangyue were teleported out? Heavenly Star Ring was confused. The two of them had suddenly disappeared. I don't know. I guess they did something wrong. Yi Tianyan smiled. Jing Xian frowned. She couldn't figure out the reason either. If she could figure out the reason, it would be terrifying. No matter what, the trial had to go on. Yi Tianyan didn't kick everyone out of the room. He didn't think it was necessary to do so. After all, there were only a few people who could really challenge the higher-ups. There were not many people in the first place. Not many Grand Star Venerables could enter. The spirit herbs in the lower layers of the spiritual mountain were ordinary. They did not have to worry about being picked. What he cared about was the divine herbs in the upper layers. Even if they were useless to him, they would be useful to his faction. He stayed on the side as a spectator, watching them go through the trials. Young Master Tianyan, aren't you going to take the trial? Jing Xian has already come down from one of the trials, and when she saw Yi Tianyan was still motionless, she felt very strange. There's no rush. Let me observe the situation first. Only then can we fight steadily and surely. Yi Tianyan casually made up an excuse. Even Heavenly Star Ring participated in the trial, but he didn't. It seems young Master Tianyan is going to check the upper layers? Jing Xian speculated that Yi Tianyan wanted to see if anyone participated in the trial to evaluate the combat power of the puppet. Yu Xing Xian Jing Xing said. Of course I'll try. Since young Master Tianyan said so, I'll try the 9th layer. Jing Xian smiled at him and flew to the 9th layer. Of course I'll give it a try. Since young Master Tianyan said so, I'll give the 9th floor a try. Jing Xian smiled at him and flew up to the 9th floor. Jing Xian was only an early-stage Grand Star Venerable. It would be difficult for her to fight the puppet on the 9th layer. Jing Xian's cultivation was only at the early stage of Grand Star Venerate. It would be difficult for her to fight against the puppets on the 9th floor. The puppet used its full power as soon as it went up, just like it used against Yi Tianyan. It used its full power. Jing Xian knew what the puppet was going to do. She quickly formed hand seals. The lotus behind her rose and bloomed, releasing its strongest power. Jing Xian already knew her opponent's trick. She quickly formed a seal with her hands, and the lotus behind her rose up. The lotus flowers bloomed one after another, and released their strongest power. While the surrounding cultivators thought she was going to be hit, Jing Xian quickly dodged to the side, barely dodging the shocking attack. Just as the surrounding cultivators thought she was about to be hit, Jing Xian quickly dodged to the side, barely dodging this astonishing attack. Jing Xian kept dodging. Sometimes, she could predict the direction of the puppet's attack and dodge it easily. Jing Xian kept dodging. Sometimes, she could predict the direction of the puppet's attack and dodge it easily. Her ability to predict the opponent's attack was obviously related to her star power. It allowed her to predict the opponent's attack in advance. They were all dumbfounded by such a method. Just by constantly dodging attacks, he would be in an invincible position. After dodging several times, Jing Xian quickly counterattacked. She formed hand seals and shot rays of divine light at the puppet. Every time she attacked, she could push the puppet back a distance. Moreover, the power of the attacks gradually increased. The puppet's fierce attacks were ineffective against her. The main thing was that her dodging speed was equally shocking. If her speed could not keep up, it would be meaningless to predict the opponent's attack angle. As expected of a unique star power, every one of them is so powerful. No wonder she could pass so many levels easily with such a low cultivation. Yi Tianyan's eyes flickered as he observed Jing Xian's battle situation. Such a unique star Dharma form was indeed quite good. However, he was not tempted. If Jing Xian was scheming against him, he would not mind destroying the flower. After the battle lasted for a period of time, Jing Xian finally won. The puppet's body was full of wounds caused by the jade staff in her hand. The battle should have been very intense. It would take a lot of effort to defeat the puppet. But with Jing Xian's ability, everything became so easy. Phew, I almost failed. After Jing Xian came down, her face was slightly pale. Using this kind of prediction ability would still consume a lot of energy. Miss Jing Xian, you are really amazing. Yi Tianyan had a whole new level of respect for Jing Xian. No wonder she was a super genius. Her ability was really amazing. It's all right. Now young Master Tianyan, can you go and try? Jing Xian's beautiful eyes flickered. It was as if she was waiting for Yi Tianyan to go and see his real strength. Is that so? I am not in a hurry. Look, the others have all gone up to challenge. They were all influenced by you. Yi Tianyan raised his head and gestured to the back to look. Jing Xian's success made some of the cultivators who wanted to participate in the 9th level immediately have some courage. They felt that this puppet was not very strong. But when someone really went up, they realized that it was not the case. In an instant, that cultivator was defeated and eliminated. Chapter 2260. The failure of so many cultivators further highlighted Jing Xian's strength. Yi Tianyan was impressed by her powerful prediction ability. With this ability, it would not be difficult for her to face the 10th floor. The 10th floor did not require her to defeat the puppets. All she had to do was keep dodging. Jing Xian's ability allowed her to dodge and endure for the time it took for an incense stick to burn. However, Jing Xian did not know the real situation. Otherwise, she would not have challenged the 9th floor first but the 10th floor. The difficulty of the 10th floor was terrifying for others. For Jing Xian, it was not as difficult as the 9th floor. No one is challenging now. Is young Master Tianyan not going up? Jing Xian was still hoping that Yi Tianyan would go up and show his strength. Miss Jing Xian, do you really want me to go up and give it a try? Yi Tianyan knew what she was thinking. She wanted to analyze him from all angles. Just not going up. Are you going to stay here and watch? Jing Xian did not give up. She wanted Yi Tianyan to go up. Almost. I'm not interested in the spirit herbs up there. Can't I just watch from here? Yi Tianyan shrugged. He still did not want to go up. How is that possible? Even if you are a late-stage star venerable, the spirit herbs on the 8th floor and above will be very helpful to you. Jing Xian did not give up. Since it has come to this, I'll give it a try. Yi Tianyan shrugged helplessly. It seemed that Jing Xian would not give up if he did not go up and show his strength. Although he was not afraid of her, there were so many people watching, especially the people from the various clans outside. He had to put on an act no matter what. Then I'll choose the 10th floor. Yi Tianyan leaped up and rushed to the 10th floor. Jing Xian's eyes lit up. She could finally see Yi Tianyan's strength. She hasn't seen Yi Tianyan's power for a long time. She did not team up with Yi Tianyan when dealing with the giant beasts, so she did not know the details. Now that he saw Yi Tianyan go up, he could finally see what level Yi Tianyan's ability had reached. Young Master Tianyan, show me your true strength. A meaningful look flashed across Jing Xian's eyes. Yi Tianyan successfully entered the 10th level. Originally, he was unable to enter the 10th level, but now that he was the master of the Violet Gold Divine Pavilion, not to mention entering a second time, it wouldn't be a problem for him to sleep here. Whatever restrictions, they had nothing to do with him. Just to make it look more realistic, he came up to compete. As soon as they entered, the old man stated the rules at the same time. However, the rules had changed. From the original time of 1 incense stick, it had changed to 5 incense sticks worth of time. The reason why he took so long to upgrade was purely because he didn't want them to earn half a stock of godly medicine. If they took away even 1 stock, it would be a huge loss. Although he could transfer everyone away in one go, it would be too exaggerated to do so, and it would arouse suspicion. Soon the puppet attacked ferociously. Yi Tianyan quickly defended himself. He pulled out the thunder saber and continuously blocked the puppet's attacks. However, before he could block for long, the puppet threw a heavy punch at Yi Tianyan's chest and sent him flying. Challenge failed. Eliminated. The old man was emotionless. With a slight wave of his hand, he sent Yi Tianyan out. This situation stunned Jing Xian and Tian Xinghuan. They didn't expect Yi Tianyan to lose just like that. Everything happened too quickly. Yi Tianyan didn't even have time to use his Star Dharma idol before he was defeated. At the same time, they witnessed how terrifying the strength of the puppet on the 10th level was. The speed was so fast that Yi Tianyan didn't even have time to use his Star Dharma idol before he lost. Young Master Tianyan lost just like that? Jing Xian was very disappointed. She didn't expect Tianyan to lose so easily. This feeling was completely different from what she had expected. She thought that Tianyan could win. Tian Xinghuan thought the same. He thought that Tianyan wouldn't say much and should be able to win. At the very least, he should be able to win a few matches below the 10th level. Now that he lost the first match, it was really a waste of time. When this scene was seen by the Tian family outside, they were stunned at first. Then they mocked. So what if this guy's talent is good? It's just that his brain isn't that good. He directly challenged the 10th level. Is he an idiot? Brothery. Tian Yuan sighed. He felt that it was a pity. He didn't expect that Tianyan would end up like this. Tian Kuangyue and Zhu Xing were full of schadenfreude. When they saw Tianyan being sent flying, they both laughed. Directly challenging the 10th level, there's really something wrong with his brain. I can't challenge it, but his situation isn't any better than mine. Zhu Xing laughed. At least, Tianyan's performance made Jing Xian feel very disappointed. Her favorable impression of him was greatly reduced. Tian Kuangyue felt that losing face in front of Tian Xinghuan was also a pleasant thing. After Tianyan disappeared, he was quickly teleported out. I'm very sorry, I failed the challenge. After being teleported out, Tianyan smiled at Tian Yuan. It's okay. Victory and defeat are common. It's normal to occasionally fail. Tian Yuan comforted him. Hey, weren't you very arrogant before? You arrived faster than me and obtained the key so quickly. Looks like you're quite capable. But now you failed. Zhu Xing brought a group of people to surround Tianyan. He sneered. You were protected inside, but now? Can you still be arrogant? Zhu Xing brought the other elders to surround Tianyan. The other elders' gazes were very unfriendly. They had all seen Zhu Xing's situation inside. They must be very annoyed with Tianyan. Now they were sizing up Tianyan because they had more people. I'll give you two choices. Either you die, or you hand over the treasures. Zhu Xing glared at him fiercely. Don't tell me you don't have any treasures. You got a Star Venerable level treasure inside. Looking at the group of Grand Star Venerables surrounding him, Tianyan smiled faintly. He did not care at all. Oh, it seems like you're very confident you can take the treasures from me. Seeing that Tianyan could still smile, the others thought Tianyan must have been beaten silly. They only had 2 people at most. How could they resist the Zhu family's Grand Star Venerables? The Zhu family had sent 8 Grand Star Venerables. 2 of them were in the late stage of Grand Star Venerables, and they could easily crush their opponents. What do you think? Zhu Xing looked at Tianyan as if he was looking at an idiot. Tian Yuan's gaze turned cold. He sent a sound transmission to Tianyan. Brother E, let's kill our way out together. Chapter 2261. Not only was Tianyan not nervous in the face of so many powerhouses surrounding him, he could even smile. After all, the people surrounding him were no small matter. They were the strongest fighters of the Zhu family. Who would be able to stop them when there were so many of them? Others might be worried, but he wasn't. This was his territory. He could move these Great Star Venerables to a dangerous area with a flick of his finger. They wouldn't even know how they died then. He couldn't do what the Purple Cloud Star Emperor did, where he could freeze them in midair and kill them at will. Only a Divine Star Venerable could do that. His cultivation wasn't that strong, so he naturally couldn't do that. However, he could still use the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion to increase his strength greatly. He didn't feel any pressure in escaping. I wonder if there's anyone else? Tianyan looked ahead and saw the Zhu family surrounding him with a cold expression. Arrogant, too arrogant. I heard this kid is a super genius. He's young, but he's too arrogant. Yes, too arrogant. His cultivation isn't bad. If he keeps cultivating, he'll break through to the Divine Star Venerable level sooner or later. Now he's provoking the Zhu family. How irrational. It's not just irrational. He's simply stupid. Some geniuses are like this. They're too arrogant and put themselves in danger. The family elders at the side criticized Tianyan, thinking it was a pity. So what if he wasn't even 10,000 years old? He could only kneel in the face of so many strong enemies. By the time the surrounding elders made way for them, they had already been surrounded so tightly that it would be extremely difficult for them to escape. Tian Yueming and the others were gloating over his misfortune, not showing any intention of helping. Since Yi Tianyan wanted to die, they were happy to watch from the side. Most importantly, they didn't like this kind of traitor. They couldn't wait for Yi Tianyan to die. "Oh, I almost forgot about you." Yi Tianyan glanced in the direction of the Mu clan. Just now, the Mu clan's elder was also looking at him with displeasure. Immediately, he stretched out his hand and flicked his wrist. Very quickly Mu Ran, who was in the middle of the trial, was sent flying just like that. When he landed, he staggered a few steps back and almost fell to the ground. Mu Ran. When the Mu clan saw that Mu Ran was also ejected, they were extremely shocked. Why was Mu Ran also sent flying out for no reason? What's going on? Mu Ran wanted to cry, but no tears came out. Zhu Xing and Tian Kuangyue were teleported out, but why was he teleported out as well? This made the Mu clan, who were originally gloating over their misfortune, immediately collapse. They originally thought that Yi Tianyan was being irrational, but now they were in no mood at all. Zhu Xing and the others paid a little attention to it before turning their gazes over again. They felt a little happy in their hearts. Since they couldn't stay inside, they couldn't bear to see other people staying inside. Hurry up and make your choice. Are you going to hand it in or not? Zhu Xing's expression was ferocious. He was prepared to foresee Yi Tianyan being ruthlessly abused. He might even slowly kill Yi Tianyan. It was impossible for him to let go of Yi Tianyan. The main reason was that Yi Tianyan's talent was astonishing. If he let him go, there would definitely be trouble in the future. You only dare to rely on your family's help. If you have the ability, why don't you fight me one-on-one? Yi Tianyan looked at him with a mocking expression. He wasn't in a hurry to kill everyone. It wasn't that he didn't have the ability to do so. It was just that the effect of killing everyone was direct. However, he felt that the giant beast clan in the violet gold divine pavilion was getting restless. Many of them were rushing over. Many of them were already guarding outside. This meant that the war was about to begin. Under such circumstances, although he didn't like the Zhu clan, they still had some combat strength. It was not bad to let them fight against the giant beast clan. It was better than being killed by him. That would be a waste of combat strength. Why not? Zhu Xing was immediately infuriated. He didn't want others to say that he only relied on his family and not himself. Yi Tianyan laughed when he saw that Zhu Xing accepted the challenge so readily. Zhu Xing was so easily angered. His state of mind was really unstable. He originally had such a huge advantage. However, he was instantly crippled. If it was him, he would directly call a group of people over and do whatever he wanted. As for whether it was fair or not, winning was the best outcome. Zhu Xing stood up and said to the elders behind him, "Leave this to me. I will let him know the true gap between us." The elders looked at each other and saw the helplessness in each other's eyes. However, they still decided to support Zhu Xing. It was good to be able to settle things like this. Moreover, they were all at the side. If Yi Tianyan made a move, they would immediately attack. Under such circumstances, they could only let Zhu Xing act recklessly. At the same time, they wanted Zhu Xing to practice. Zhu Xing's state of mind wasn't very good. However, his combat talent was really not bad. Yi Tianyan agreed with this. He had passed so many trials so quickly, and even dealt with the 4 guards in the end. This meant that he was quite capable. He couldn't be trash if he could cultivate to such a level. If he was trash, then the whole world would be trash. Zhu Xing's biggest weakness was that he was easily angered. If he was not in a good state of mind, he could easily fall into the opponent's trap. What gap? Yi Tianyan found it funny. This Zhu Xing was indeed an arrogant person. He couldn't tolerate even the slightest mistake. Once he was humiliated, he would do anything to get back at Yi Tianyan. A gap that can't be bridged. Zhu Xing walked towards Yi Tianyan step by step. The unique star Dharma idol behind him burst out. A huge heavenly star scarlet wolf appeared behind him. Thick wolf fur also appeared on the surface of his body. It looked quite tough. He was still very cautious when facing Yi Tianyan. He immediately burst out with his full combat prowess. He was a mid-stage Grand Star Venerable, while Yi Tianyan was a late-stage Star Venerable. He had to be cautious. Zhu Xing might sound arrogant and prideful, but when it came to a real fight, he would still make a judgment. No matter how useless Zhu Xing was, he wouldn't lose his mind because of anger. Unless his opponent was weak, he wouldn't be cautious. This was also one of his carelessness. For example, if Yi Tianyan was an early-stage Grand Star Venerable, he definitely wouldn't be so cautious. That was Zhu Xing's character. Sometimes he was cautious, and sometimes he was careless. It would depend on the situation. Just because of this unique Star Dharma idol? Yi Tianyan said calmly. Yes, just because of my unique Star Dharma idol. Zhu Xing's gaze was cold. Don't think that you're stronger than me just because your cultivation is higher than mine. Some things can't be measured by cultivation alone. Chapter 2262. He had his own Star Dharma form, 48 units of astral power, Star Venerable level treasures, and amazing martial techniques. With so many layers, his fighting power would not be that simple. It was not difficult to fight someone at a higher level than him. It was especially easy for Zhu Xing to fight someone in the late stage of the Grand Star Venerable realm. He could kill his opponent in a second by just relying on the combination of astral power and his own Star Dharma form. So this is what you're relying on. Yi Tianyan shook his head and smiled. He had to admit that Zhu Xing was simple and crude, but also shallow. That's right. This is what I'm relying on. Do you have it? Zhu Xing's eyes were full of disdain. He felt superior to Yi Tianyan. As long as he had his own Star Dharma form, he would be superior to others. Then let's give it a try. Yi Tianyan smiled faintly. His aura surged crazily. He was ready to fight. Don't worry. I'll spare your life, so that Sister Jingxin can see how miserable you look, Zhu Xing said with a cold gaze. I'll let her know who's more outstanding. But she doesn't like me. Yi Tianyan shrugged his shoulders and said, Are you misunderstanding something? She just wants to get information from me and understand my situation. Don't treat me as a rival in love, okay? Nonsense. I saw her flirting with you. Don't try to defend yourself. Zhu Xing said angrily. Bro, she just wants to figure out how to deal with me and understand my situation. You're wrongly accusing me. Although Yi Tianyan did not want to explain anything to him, the way the people around looked at him was a little different. There were so many big families watching. How could it not be wrongly accusing Jingxin of flirting with him? Especially Chu Hutong and the others, they all looked at him strangely, as if they were looking at their future husband. After watching for a while, they shook their heads and felt it was a pity. They probably felt that Yi Tianyan was good in all aspects, but he did not have a strong background, so he was not in their consideration at all. Maybe he had a divine Star Venerable behind him. Previously, they were afraid that Yi Tianyan had an expert backing him up. However, he still hadn't appeared. If this continued, he would be dead for sure. At first, he wanted Zhu Xing to be careful and not cause any conflict with Yi Tianyan. Now there was no need to worry. After observing for so long, he felt that there was no one helping him. He was alone. At most, Tian Yuan would help, but that was meaningless. He wouldn't be of much help at all. Moreover, they had already come this far. It would be easy for them to take away the star-level treasure. Who knows, Yi Tianyan might have collected some other treasures along the way. If he looted the place, he might really get a lot of good stuff. Don't try to defend yourself. I will let you know the consequences of approaching my little sister Jingxin. Zhu Xing had already lost his mind. He wanted to beat up Yi Tianyan and let Jing Xian witness his abilities. Yi Tianyan felt helpless. It seemed that he had been misunderstood. The big families around him were looking at him strangely. The Chu family and the Zhu family had wanted to unite by marriage. Yi Tianyan had interfered. Wasn't he courting death? Then Zhu Xing charged at Yi Tianyan. He stomped on the ground and turned into a giant red wolf, pouncing at him. Scorching waves of fire spread out. The temperature of the area rose rapidly. Even the air turned red. Yi Tianyan. Kneel. Zhu Xing howled. The heavenly star red wolf's power shrouded the area. The flames in the sky gathered into a sea of fire. Then they turned into a heavenly star red wolf and pressed down. He wanted to use this overbearing power to force Etianyan to kneel. You want to force me to kneel with such power? Etianyan sneered. The power in his body surged out crazily. He did not use his unique star laws. Instead, he used the 4-star laws that he had obtained. They turned into shadows and floated at the side. His power quickly stacked up. This was not the end. He pulled out the Thunder Long Saber. The power in his body surged again and poured into the Thunder Long Saber. At the same time, he activated Crazy Mode. Crazy Mode, 50 times damage stacked. Without activating the star power, it was already 50 times damage stacked. Now, with the special power of the 4-star laws, he was able to resist Zhu Xing's power in one go. Break for me. Etianyan waved the Thunder Long Saber. The thick thunder light giant saber slashed towards the heavenly star red wolf. The overbearing power easily split the heavenly star red wolf into two. The remaining saber aura continued to slash towards Zhu Xing. Lightning flashed. Zhu Xing's expression changed. He did not expect that his opponent would be able to block his killing move when he used his full power. Scarlet Flame Shock. Zhu Xing didn't dare to hide anymore. He slammed his palm into the air, and a powerful flame spread out from his palm, causing the entire space to shake and distort. Circle after circle of flame spread out like a thick wall of fire towards Etianyan. After the thick lightning aura hit the wall of fire, it was quickly weakened. At the same time, it was slightly dispersed by the flames. When it hit the second wall of fire, it completely dispersed. It was indeed a galaxy-grade peak martial technique. It could explode the power of his cultivation to its fullest. Too weak. Is this the gap you were talking about? In that case, continue to break for me. Etianyan laughed loudly. The power of a late-stage star venerable erupted from his body. A majestic power burst out of his body and gathered on the Thunder Long Saber. The Thunder Long Saber buzzed as if it had sensed the powerful power. It was extremely excited. Boom. The Thunder Long Saber aura slashed towards Zhu Xing again. Wherever it went, the space was distorted. The crackling lightning spread in all directions like a dense spider web. As soon as it touched the thick wall of fire, the wall of fire was destroyed by the lightning aura. Everything was turned into nothingness. In one breath, Yi Xian broke several thick walls of fire and reached Zhu Xing instantly. Zhu Xing's so-called killing move was just a decoration. How is it possible? Zhu Xing was shocked, but he was not slow. He waved his hand quickly and finally took out the star venerable grade treasure he had obtained before. He used it to block the attack. Boom. The lightning aura hit him. Even though he took out the star venerable grade treasure to block it in a hurry, he could not suppress Etianyan's overbearing saber quickly. With a loud noise, Zhu Xing was sent flying. In the end, he hit the wall. He grunted and spat out a mouthful of blood, which dyed the ground in front of him red. His body was charred black, and he seemed to be in an extremely sorry state. Chapter 2263. Zhu Xing was completely defeated by Etianyan without using the star aspect. Everyone was dumbfounded by the result. That was a unique star aspect, not an ordinary star aspect. In this case, Etianyan is still defeated, which shocked other people, but more people think that Etianyan is really amazing. It would have been fine if he had defeated Zhu Xing with the star aspect, but he had defeated his opponent without using the star aspect. It was unbelievable. To Candle Star, it was the greatest humiliation. He had always been proud of his unique star aspect, but he had been defeated by Etianyan without using the star aspect. It was easy to imagine how complicated he felt. Zhu Xing's greatest advantage was his unique star aspect. Now that he could not defeat Yi Futian even though he had the star aspect, how could he fight? This is unbelievable. They were all dumbfounded. Chu Hutong and the others finally understood why Jing Xian had asked them not to fight. His power was too shocking. Most late-stage star venerables could not endure Zhu Xing's burst of power. Not only did Etianyan endure it, but he also defeated his opponent without using the star aspect. Cough, cough, cough. Zhu Xing stood up from the ground, his body wobbling. Yi Tianyun's attack had injured him quite a bit. He felt pain all over his body. He had not experienced this feeling for a long time. It could be said that he had always been the one suppressing his opponent, not the other way around. I will kill you. Zhu Xing roared. The star-scarlet wolf behind him let out a howl and started to merge with his body, healing his injuries quickly. Very quickly he reached the stage where he was one with his beast, forming a complete entity. His entire body was covered in red fur, and every single strand of fur looked extremely sturdy. More importantly, the fluctuations of the flames in the surroundings rapidly rose by a large margin. With the ability to transform into his original body, his power had truly reached its peak. He had not used his full power before. He had used his full power when he merged with the star aspect. Only then could he achieve the strongest power. Zhu Xing believed that he could still defeat Yi Tianyun without transforming into his original body. Now it seemed like he was overthinking. He needed to unleash his full strength to kill Yi Tianyun. Although this was not his original intention, he did not care about anything else in his rage. He only wanted to ruthlessly defeat his opponent. With so many elders of the big families watching, one could imagine how humiliated they felt. If he didn't get back at them, their Zhu family wouldn't be able to raise their heads in front of the other families. Even if they felt that he had won unfairly, at least he had killed Yi Tianyun instead of Yi Tianyun defeating him. Winner takes all. Everything was based on the result. The degree of fusion can reach this level, not bad. Yi Tianyun said with a bit of appreciation for Zhu Xing. Generally, those who can achieve this level of fusion have a very high degree of fusion. Not all cultivators can achieve this step. The higher the level of the star aspect, the harder it was to reach this level. Now that Zhu Xing had reached this step, Lin Fan admired him a little. However, admiration was one thing, Zhu Xing was a little too narrow-minded. Your power is not bad. I have a whole new level of respect for you to reach this level, Yi Tianyun said with a faint smile, looking at Zhu Xing, whose aura had soared. Everyone's expression changed. They did not expect Yi Tianyun to be so calm at this moment. Was he really not going to use the star aspect to fight? If he could really defeat his opponent without using the star aspect, it would definitely be a heaven-defying feat after all. Only some special late-stage Grand Star Venerables could fight Candle Star at this level. How could Yi Tianyun not be heaven-defying if he could defeat Zhu Xing without the help of other forces? I'll give you one chance to use the star aspect. Otherwise, you will never have the chance to use it again. After the Candle Star burst out, it did not attack immediately. Instead, it generously displayed the Star Dharma idol for him. In fact, he was also trying to save his face. If both of them used the star aspect, he would feel different when he defeated Yi Tianyun. At least after he defeated Yi Tianyun, he would prove that his overall power was stronger than Yi Tianyun's. If he did not kill Yi Tianyun, he would be criticized for not using the star aspect, and had an unfair advantage. Although the result was the most important, reputation was equally important. I should be the one to say this, but I have to change it. If I use Star Dharma idol, you won't stand a chance at all, Yi Tianyun said with a smile, looking very confident. Arrogant, Zhu Xing said angrily. If that's the case, then go to hell. Zhu Xing roared and stomped the ground with all his might. Fine cracks appeared on the sturdy ground. He quickly turned into a huge ball of flames and charged over. The huge flaming tornado swept everything in its surroundings over. If the cultivators in the surroundings did not have low cultivations, they would have been sucked in immediately. Even though they were far away, they could still feel the terrifying suction. If they were sucked in, they would definitely be burned to ashes. Even if they were not burned to ashes, there were countless red thorns in the flaming tornado. Those were Zhu Xing's hairs. Countless strands of hair could easily grind anything that was swept in into powder. If something was grinded to pieces and burned to ashes, such a killing move would terrify people. At this time, everyone's eyes are looking at Yi Tianyun. Is Yi Tianyun still so stubborn that he won't even use Star Dharma idol? If he did not use it, he would not stand a chance. Zhu Xing's current power was definitely at the peak. If his cultivation improved further, he would be invincible among the Grand Star Venerables. At this moment, Jing Xian happened to be bounced out of the teleportation formation. She had failed to challenge the 10th floor. After the time was changed, she could not last more than the time for 5 incense sticks to burn. She could only last for 2 incense sticks to burn at most before she failed completely. Her star aspect could help her predict mini attacks, but she had to cooperate with her body to be able to dodge them quickly. After dodging for too many times, she finally lost her strength, and could only fail. She saw Yi Tianyan and Zhu Xing fighting as soon as she came out of the teleportation formation. Don't you want to know what kind of star aspect I have? I'll show you now. Yi Tianyan's eyes turned cold. The unique star aspect behind him surged quickly. Soon, a huge 7-colored emperor dragon dashed out from behind him. The dragon's roar echoed in the entire palace. Unique star aspect. Chapter 2264. Unique Star Law? This stunned everyone. In an instant, Candle Star's strength, which they were so proud of, had no advantage at all. If Yi Tianyan had an ordinary star law, he would have had an advantage. But now that Yi Tianyan had a unique star law, what else was there to say? He was able to defeat Candle Star even before he used his star law idol. Now that he had used his unique star law, what other advantages did Zhu Xing have? This is impossible. How can you have a unique star law? Zhu Xing, who was rushing over, roared. However, his attack did not slow down at all. Once his attack was unleashed, there was no reason for him to retract it. You think you can have it, but I can't. Yi Tianyan didn't transform into his original body. He only released his strongest astral power, and stacked them on top of each other. 68 cubic meters of astral power was indeed terrifying. It was much more powerful than Zhu Xing. If he transformed into his original body, he would be even more powerful. Yi Tianyan wouldn't give Zhu Xing any chance to turn the tables. The unique star law behind him opened its mouth and swallowed Zhu Xing's astral power. It devoured 1/3 of Zhu Xing's astral power, and turned it into his own. 71 cubic meters of astral power. 67 cubic meters of astral power was already incredible. Now that he had increased it to 71 cubic meters, it was terrifying and had reached an unprecedented level. The others turned pale. This power was incredible. How were they going to fight? Jing Xian was stunned when she saw the star law behind Yi Tianyan. Then she was pleasantly surprised. So it's him. I want you to die. Zhu Xing let out another furious roar. Blood gushed out of his body and surged into his hair. His power rose once again. But it was meaningless. The increase in power was powerful, but it wasn't as powerful as Yi Tianyan's 71 cubic meters of astral power. The key was that Zhu Xing had 71 cubic meters of astral power. His real power was more than 71 cubic meters. He had the bonus of crazy mode. His combat power was incredible. Get down! Yi Tianyan stepped forward in the void, and the 7-color Emperor Dragon above him released its own dragon power and slammed forward. It looked like a simple and unadorned move, but with a single slap, it easily dispersed the terrifying flame tornado. Together with the candle star, it was smashed into the ground and flattened. The wolf fur on his body fell off completely. What sturdy wolf fur! What flames that could burn everything! Under this slap, everything was scattered. Even Zhu Xing was severely injured. This verified what Yi Tianyan had said. If Yi Tianyan used his star law, then Zhu Xing would have no chance at all. Now it was really so. How could there be any chance to speak of? He was directly smashed to pieces by his palm. Kill him. Zhu Xing raised his head with great difficulty and glared at them viciously. He wanted the other elders to kill him. When the elders of the Zhu family saw this, they were also furious. The 7 of them quickly surrounded him. I don't know where you're from, but you must die today. They did not dare to let Yi Tianyan go. Once they let Yi Tianyan go, if Yi Tianyan became a divine star venerable one day and held a grudge, the Zhu family would really be done for. As soon as he finished speaking, the 7 great star venerables all unleashed their level 6 star law. The 7 elders surrounded him. They were the strongest fighting force of the Zhu family. Just because of what you said, you must also die today. Yi Tianyan said calmly. I wanted to let you go, but it seems like you're not satisfied. Immediately, Etianyan smiled. His smile was so cold that it made the surrounding elders tremble, and a bad feeling welled up in their hearts. You're talking big. Do you think you can defeat us just because you defeated Zhu Xing? You're too naive. Cut the crap. Come and accept your death. The first elder of the Zhu family turned his hand, and a star venerable level treasure appeared in his hand. Another elder was also holding a star venerable level treasure. No wonder they were not afraid of Etianyan. They all had powerful treasures. Besides, the 7 of them were attacking him together, so they were quite confident. However, this was not enough to scare Etianyan. I'll show you what a real body looks like. Etianyan stepped forward. The 7-color Emperor Dragon instantly integrated into his body. His body immediately made a crackling sound, and soon his body was abruptly expanded by a big circle. Thick dragon scales covered his body. At the same time, colorful lights were emitted from the surface of his body. This caused his already frightening aura to increase explosively once again. Don't let him finish merging with his body. They were shocked. Seeing this, they did not dare to stay outside and watch. Instead, they all surrounded him and attacked him. The elders of the other big families all moved away from him. They did not dare to get close to him in case they got hurt. They would not help him. They were not related to Etianyan. Why would they help him? He couldn't wait to get as far away as possible. It was even more impossible for him to get close. Tian Yuan wanted to help, but Etianyan told him not to. He could handle it himself. Under such circumstances, heaven-traveling Yuan could only watch from the side. Tian Xinghuan came out. She had challenged Lin Fan a few times, but she had failed. She had just come out, and she saw such a scene. She was shocked. She opened her mouth, wanting to say something, but the fight had already started. Boom. The attacks of the 7 Grand Star Venerables landed in the area where Etianyan was. They created a destructive power. Under this bombardment, the hard ground rapidly cracked into a dense spider web that rapidly spread in all directions. Is he dead? Zhu Xing was barely able to raise his head and observe the situation over here. His red eyes were filled with joy. Even if he could not kill Etianyan, he could at least see Etianyan die in front of him. Plus, Etianyan's unique star Dharma idol was there. He wanted Etianyan to die even more. When the others thought Etianyan was dead, a ghostly voice appeared behind them. Who died? Everyone turned around and saw Etianyan standing behind them, unharmed. He was not a fool. He would not stand there and let them attack him. With a simple shift, he had managed to escape. Etianyan had finished merging with his body. He looked like a fierce dragon in human form. His thick dragon scales were terrifying. His aura was much stronger than Zhu Xing's. Chapter 2265. Other Star Venerables would have been scared off by the Zhu family's Grand Star Venerables. There were 7 Grand Star Venerables in front of them. 2 of them were in the late stage of the Star Venerables, and they all had Star Venerable level treasures. With the 2 superimposed, their strength could be said to have reached an extremely powerful realm. They could defeat all the factions on the desolate Dragon Planet. Most of the factions on the Red Moon Planet would not be able to resist such a terrifying attack. Etianyan's expression did not change. He looked calm as if the 7 Grand Star Venerables in front of him were not Grand Star Venerables, but 7 Star Venerables. Devour the starry sky. Etianyan swallowed the astral power of 4 Grand Star Venerables and turned it into the astral power above his head. Etianyan's limit was 68 cubes of astral power. Now that he had swallowed the astral power of 4 people, the nebula above his head spun crazily. It was like a galaxy enveloping him. He went from 68 cubes of astral power to 80 cubes in one go. He could look down on everyone. 80 cubes of astral power. The group of people gulped. Some of them almost swallowed their own tongues. They had never seen someone in the late stage of the Star Venerables explode with 80 cubes of astral power. Just this combination alone was enough to kill any Star Venerables in the late stage. They had rarely seen Divine Star Venerables, but they thought even a Divine Star Venerate would not be killed in one move. They would probably be able to resist a few moves. Such a terrifying power shook the surrounding space, as if it would collapse at any moment. especially the 80 cubes of astral power above their heads. If they were not in the purple gold divine pavilion, they would have exploded. The area it covered was too wide. Even the roof in the sky was about to explode. Everyone felt their scalps go numb. They were afraid of being dominated by astral power. Even divine star venerables might not be able to reach 80 cubes of astral power. However, Tianyan could do it. What a strange ability. I thought he could only use it once. Who knew he could swallow so many in a row? Chu Hutong and the others were stunned. They had never seen Tianyan's ability before. Now that they had seen it for themselves, they were truly shocked. When they devoured the star power of the candle star, they were all shocked. They felt that there was such a special ability. Now it was even more shocking. He swallowed the star power of 4 people in a row, increasing his own star power by a large amount, and at the same time, weakening the star power of his opponents by a large amount. After the two superimposed, it was equivalent to a double enhancement. They had never seen such a terrifying ability before. It showed them what a unique star Dharma Laksana was like. Even the candle star's unique star form wasn't this powerful, was it? Initially, I didn't want to get rid of all of you. After all, you are a large group of experts that can be used to deal with the giant beast clan. However, I have to make an example out of you now. How could Tianyan not know that many forces were eyeing them covetously? Most importantly, if he wanted to intimidate them, he had to unleash his strongest power and completely suppress them. At this moment, the 7 Grand Star Venerables quickly surrounded him. They gathered their power again and attacked Tianyan. Go to hell. The elders of the Zhu clan showed ferocious expressions. Let's see where you can hide this time. They were shocked by Tianyan's ability, but they were still very confident in themselves. If the 7 Grand Star Venerables worked together, would they still be unable to deal with Tianyan? Tianyan's gaze turned cold. If it were in the past, I might have been a little afraid. But now, he increased his power again. The giant image of the 7-colored Emperor Dragon charged forward to meet the attack head-on. He did not even try to hide. He chose to face them head-on. Boom. The majestic 7-colored Emperor Dragon let out a dragon roar, and broke the light net encircling it. It was like tearing a piece of paper. The joint attack of the 7 Grand Star Venerables was so weak before Tianyan's attack. Puff, they all spat up blood. After their attacks were torn apart, they suffered a backlash from their own power. This was the weakness of a joint attack. Once their attack was broken, they would suffer a backlash. It might not be serious, but they would at least be injured. Most importantly, the 7 Grand Star Venerables could not withstand a single attack from Tianyan. When they were sent flying by the backlash, before they could recover, a huge figure had already covered them and directly pressed down from the sky. With a dong sound, one of the elders was smashed into a bloody mist. The first one, Tianyan said softly. His voice was not loud, but it spread throughout the area and reached everyone's ears. Soon Tianyan charged at the next elder and struck him again. With a dong sound, he smashed him into a bloody mist. In less than half a breath's time, he killed 2 elders easily. It felt like the Grand Star Venerables were like tofu that could be smashed easily. The second one. Tianyan's voice is like a curse. It reaches everyone's ears. It's like being hit in the heart. It's quite depressing, even fear. They imagined themselves being punched. They could not resist it at all. Tianyan didn't use any fancy moves, he just used his fists to hit the ground. However, such a simple move contained an incomparably terrifying power. All of the power was condensed into this punch. Tianyan didn't stop. He rushed to the other elder again. Taking advantage of the fact that they haven't recovered yet, he wants to kill them. The third one. The fourth one. Finally, after killing 4 in a row, they finally calmed down. They are all on guard, breathing heavily. Their eyes are staring at Tianyan, in case he continues to attack. Do you think you can resist my attack like this? Tianyan walked toward them step by step. They felt the palace shake with each step. Absolute power. No matter how you defend, you can't resist my attack. Dong! Tianyan charged at one of them again. A horrifying aura shrouded him. That elder turned pale. His eyes were filled with Tianyan's figure. At the last moment of his life, his eyes were filled with Yi Tianyun's figure. The elder tried his best to resist Yi Tianyun's attack, but it was useless, and he was killed by Yi Tianyun's punch. This was true absolute power. In the face of absolute power, any kind of resistance was futile. No one could resist the superposition of 80 cubic meters of astral power. Not only did it have 80 cubic meters of astral power, but it also had the superposition of crazy mode. Who could resist it? It was far beyond the late stage of a grand star venerable. It was almost on par with a divine star venerable. The fifth one. Chapter 2266. 5 of the Zhu family's elders were killed. 2 of them were late-stage star venerables. He did not prioritize killing the weakest, but the strongest. Killing 2 elders in an instant was equivalent to cutting off 2 of the Zhu family's arms. Now that 5 of them were killed, even if the remaining 2 were not killed, the Zhu family was basically done for. They had fallen from the top of the rankings to the bottom. However, it was impossible for Yi Tianyun to let the other 2 go. Since they wanted to attack him, they had to pay the price. The 6th, the 7th. All 7 elders of the Zhu family were killed. Not a single one was left. The only one still alive was Zhu Xing, who was lying on the ground, unable to move. He had seen all the elders killed with his own eyes. He was the only one left. It's over. Yi Tianyun's demonic voice finally ended. Everyone could not calm down from their shock. They would probably never forget this scene. All the Zhu family's experts were killed by Yi Tianyun alone, and it was a complete massacre. Such a tyrannical posture made them feel incomparably horrified, and they felt that everything was a dream. Other great star venerables would not be able to do this. In the end, he walked up to Zhu Xing, whose eyes were filled with fear and disbelief. He looked down at him and said calmly, "Finally, it's your turn." Zhu Xing looked at him with fear in his eyes. He had not expected Yi Tianyun to kill all the Zhu family's elders. He had thought the Zhu family's elders could kill Yi Tianyun. He had not expected the result to be so miserable. All of them were killed. You're a demon." Zhu Xing screamed miserably. You killed all the Zhu family's elders. Demon, you're a demon. If you don't provoke me, then I won't be a devil, Yi Tianyun said with a smile. It's time to send you to hell. The other elders are waiting for you to go with them, Yi Tianyun said with a smile. You'll die a horrible death if you kill me. Our Zhu family has a divine star venerable. Zhu Xing roared, trying to threaten him with the prestige of a divine star venerable. You speak as if your Zhu family's divine star venerables wouldn't come to kill me if I didn't kill you, Yi Tianyun said indifferently. Aren't you going to bid farewell to Miss Jingxin one last time? Jingxin. How could Zhu Xing still be in the mood? Everyone was dead, but he anxiously turned his head to look at the Chu family and roared. Are you just going to watch our Zhu family die? Didn't you want to marry our Zhu family before? Help me kill him, quick. Young Master Zhu, we can't do that. Chuha looked at him with pity. Yi Tianyun had given them too much of a shock. If they were to attack Yi Tianyun, even if they managed to kill Yi Tianyun, the price they would have to pay would be very heavy. As for the marriage, all the elders of the Zhu clan were dead, so what marriage was there to talk about? Without any powerhouses, the Zhu clan was just an empty shell. They had heard of divine star venerable powerhouses, but who knew where they were? It was rumored that the Zhu clan had a divine star venerable powerhouse, but it seemed that he had left the Zhu clan to travel the world. How could such an illusory thing have any deterrent effect if it was said to be true? If it was said that he was in seclusion in the Zhu clan, it would have some deterrent effect. Zhu Xing's eyes narrowed. He hadn't expected such an ending. Then he looked at Jing Xian. Jing Xian's gaze had never changed. She was still very indifferent. She didn't care about him at all. Zhu Xing's heart immediately sank to the bottom. He felt that everything was so miserable. That's right. Didn't you say that the possessor of the star aspect unique to the desolate dragon planet was very weak? Actually, I am that person from the desolate dragon planet. After Yi Tianyun finished speaking, he lifted his foot and stomped down on Zhu Xing. Only the 2 of them could hear him. Zhu Xing's eyes narrowed. His eyes were filled with shock. After thinking about it carefully, It really was so. Unique star aspect powerhouses. Scarlet Moon Planet had 2 unique star aspect owners. Now that Tianyan was the possessor of a unique star aspect, he definitely wasn't from Scarlet Moon Planet. Then he might be from the Desolate Dragon Planet. That aboriginal planet. How can he be so strong? Zhu Xing couldn't believe this fact. Tianyan didn't continue to explain. He lifted his foot and stomped down heavily. When he was about to stomp him to death, a sigh suddenly came from the side. Little friend, why are you so heartless? Let go of the Zhu clan's last hope. An old voice came from behind a group of cultivators. At the same time, a wave of power surged over and wrapped around Zhu Xing's body. This made the foot that Tianyan was about to stomp down forcefully. He couldn't continue even half a step. At that moment, an old man walked out of the crowd. Suddenly someone shouted in shock, It's Lord Meiqing Celestial Star Elder. Meiqing Celestial Star Elder? They were stunned. A divine Star Elder had appeared to protect Zhu Xing. They had all heard of Meiqing Celestial Star Elder. He was a super powerhouse from a long time ago. Everyone thought he was dead. They didn't expect him to still be alive and even come in. However, there was no point in coming in. He couldn't enter the training area. He was too old to enter. Ha ha ha, it's Lord Meiqing Celestial Star Elder. Great, you're finally willing to help. Zhu Xing laughed. His eyes, which had been full of despair, suddenly became full of hope. He even became arrogant. With the help of a divine Star Elder, what was there for him to be afraid of? Break. The power under Tianyan's feet surged. He stomped hard and the barrier protecting Zhu Xing was shattered. His foot landed directly on Zhu Xing's head. Stop. Meiqing Celestial Star Elder roared. He didn't expect that Tianyan would dare to do this after seeing him. Tianyan turned a deaf ear to him. He stepped out and completely crushed Zhu Xing's head. Even his soul was destroyed. Now, even Meiqing Celestial Star Elder couldn't save him, unless he went to the Death Clan. However, the Death Clan had joined Tianyan, so it was impossible to find him. Ding. Successfully killed Zhu Xing obtained 2 billion star energy points and 1,000 kill points. Obtained unique star aspect, Heavenly Star Crimson Wolf. The items that dropped were a bit monotonous, but just the unique star aspect was enough to satisfy him. Zhu Xing's unique star aspect was definitely not bad. It might not be comparable to the 5-colored Emperor Dragon's unique star aspect, but it definitely had its own highlights. It was just that Zhu Xing couldn't fully use it. It didn't mean that he could use its power just because he could fuse them. Chapter 2267. Tianyan had crushed Zhu Xing in front of Divine Star Venerate Meiqing. Meiqing Divine Star Venerate's words had gone in one ear, and he hadn't paid any attention to them. Under such circumstances, they were completely shocked. If he had dared to face the Zhu clan before, that could be called courage. However, treating Divine Star Venerate Meiqing like this was courting death. This was a Divine Star Venerate, not a Great Star Venerate. The gap between the two was like a chasm. If Divine Star Venerate Meiqing was provoked, he could really slap someone to death. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They had seen bold people, but they had never seen someone so bold. This guy is too heaven-defying. He doesn't even listen to Divine Star Venerate Meiqing's words? Chu Hutong and the others were shocked. No matter what, he had to give Divine Star Venerate some face, right? Tian Yuan and the others shook their heads and smiled bitterly. They didn't expect Tianyan to really dare to do this. He didn't give any face at all. You don't even give this old man face. Divine Star Venerate Meiqing frowned. He was a little angry. He really didn't expect Tianyan to go against his words and kill Zhu Xing. He was a little angry, but he was more angry because Tianyan didn't listen to his words and killed Zhu Xing. After his anger erupted, the power of a Divine Star Venerate shrouded over here, making Tianyan feel a little pressure. It had to be said that the pressure of a Divine Star Venerate was quite strong. It had the kind of pressure that made people breathless. Especially when it was only targeted at Tianyan. It made the pressure even greater. However, Tianyan's expression didn't change. He didn't regret his actions. For him, if he didn't kill Zhu Xing, the future disaster would be even more serious. Unless Zhu Xing was completely crippled and couldn't cultivate that kind of power. But this was impossible. After being saved by Divine Star Venerate Mei Qing, he would definitely cultivate like crazy. At that time, it would be equivalent to burying a great hidden danger. Zhu Xing's talent wasn't bad, and he had a unique star aspect. With these two combined, he could definitely suppress a group of people. At that time, he would be a threat to Yi Tianyan. It wasn't a threat to him, but a threat to his faction. It would be extremely troublesome to cultivate to the Divine Star Venerable level one day. Although he himself was not afraid, it was definitely a good thing to have less trouble in the future. Therefore, he made a prompt decision. Even if he had to infuriate Mei Qing Godstar Venerable, he had to get rid of this guy. At the same time, he had a life-saving method, and that was the Violet Gold Divine Pavilion. He was the master of the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion, so it wouldn't be a problem for him to trap Star Venerate Mei Qing. It's not that I don't want to give you face, but Zhu Xing almost killed me. If I let him go, it'll be the same as leaving a future trouble for me. Yi Tianyan looked at Mei Qing Godstar Venerable with a calm expression. Very good. Seems like you have a reason? Mei Qing Godstar Sovereign said angrily. You've already taken care of so many experts of the Zhu family. I once promised the Zhu family that if anything happens to the Zhu family, I would at least protect a seedling. If I stop you, you won't even be able to touch those elders in front of you. It was obvious that Mei Qing Godstar Sovereign had already appeared on the side. However, he had promised the Zhu family that he would only protect talented geniuses like Zhu Xing, who knew that even the last seedling wouldn't be able to be protected. Everyone looked at each other. It seemed like Mei Qing Godstar Sovereign still owed the Zhu family a favor. Otherwise, he wouldn't have come forward to help. This could be seen from the fact that he didn't help at the beginning and only helped at the end. He really didn't have much affection for the Zhu family. He just wanted to fulfill a promise. Does the Zhu family have no other disciples? Yi Tianyan said indifferently. I won't destroy the Zhu family. There are many other disciples there, and there are also many seedlings. Is that trash the same as Zhu Xing? Mei Qing Godstar Sovereign said angrily. The point is that you don't listen to my request. You won't even give me face. It seems like there's no need for you to stay in this world. Originally, the Zhu family's matter had nothing to do with me. I just wanted to protect a seedling. Now that the seedling is dead, you can go down and accompany him. Mei Qing Godstar Sovereign walked over to Yi Tianyan step by step. The pressure he exerted was getting stronger and stronger. He wanted to completely crush Yi Tianyan. Mei Qing Godstar Sovereign's murderous intent was aroused. He wanted to kill Yi Tianyan. He didn't have a good impression of the Zhu family, but he still had to fulfill his promise. Now that the promise was gone, he could only help kill Yi Tianyan. This could be considered repaying the Zhu family's kindness. When everyone heard Mei Qing Godstar Sovereign's words, they all took a few steps back. Their gazes shifted to Yi Tianyan. Everyone's mentality was different. Some were gloating, some were worried, and most of them felt pity. Originally, with Yi Tianyan's strength, breaking through to the Divine Star Sovereign realm wouldn't have been a problem. A bright future awaited him. Who knew that he would encounter Mei Qing Godstar Sovereign? Now, everything was over. Brother Yi, I'll help you. Tian Yuan gritted his teeth and stood together with Yi Tianyan. Tian Yueming didn't hesitate either. He also stood up and resisted Mei Qing Godstar Sovereign with Yi Tianyan. Tian Yueming's expression changed. He wanted to say something, but it was hard for him to say it. If the two of them stood up, how would the treasures be settled? The key was Tian Yueming. If he was targeted by a Divine Star Sovereign, he would definitely die. The two of them will be buried with you? That's interesting. Mei Qing Godstar Sovereign said coldly. All right, I'll fulfill your wish and send you down together. Mei Qing Godstar Sovereign started forming hand seals. Violent energy fluctuations surged from all directions. The fight hadn't even started, but the group of people felt their scalps go numb. Even though they were far away, they could feel a strong sense of oppression coming from the front. It made them feel like they would be annihilated with a light flick. Thank you both for standing up to help, but leave this place to me. Yi Tianyan was touched by the two of them standing up. It could be said that a friend in need is a friend indeed. They were sincere. But this? Yi Tianyan waved his hand, indicating for them to stop talking. He stood up and said, "The two of them have nothing to do with me. Your target is me. You want to fight, right? Can we fight somewhere else?" Yi Tianyan made a request. "No, we can only fight here." Mei Qing God Star Sovereign sneered. "I want everyone to know that I, Mei Qing God Star Sovereign, must fulfill my promises. I can't protect the Zhu family's seedlings, but I can at least kill the murderer, and let everyone witness it." Mei Qing God Star Sovereign flatly refused Yi Tianyan's request. Instead, he killed Yi Tianyan in front of everyone to fulfill his promise. Although he didn't succeed, killing Yi Tianyan could be considered revenge. Chapter 2268. Fighting against a divine star venerable was undoubtedly a dead end. It was basically the kind of death that was hard to escape. Now that Yi Tianyan had chosen to fight a divine star venerable head-on, people would only think that he was overestimating himself. They wouldn't think that he was very courageous. What kind of situation was courageous? It was built on the fact that he could deal with it, or that even if the other party kept him here, he would still be greatly injured. Under such circumstances, he could still be called courageous. If there was a huge disparity in strength, then he would be an idiot. "It seems that you still want to fight me?" Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing was startled, but he immediately laughed. People really value self-knowledge. You think that you can fight a Divine Star Venerable just because you killed the Zhu family's elder? You're too naive. I never thought that way. I was just doing what I should have done. I can't just stand still and let you kill me, right? If I let you kill me without putting up any resistance, I'd be the real idiot, Yi Tianyan said indifferently. All right. Since that's the case, I'll fulfill your wish. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing sneered. Then take one of my moves first. I'll let you see what a gap is. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing didn't even use the star aspect. He waved his palm and pressed down. He simply mobilized his own power. As he mobilized his own power, a terrifying power surged out of his body. The area above began to distort. A divine light penetrated the thick palace walls and shrouded them. At that moment, a large amount of star power in the area above was extracted and turned into his own use. This wasn't the star power mobilized by the star aspect, but the scattered star power in the surroundings. He could instantly extract a large amount of star power and condense it into power that he could use. This was the special ability of Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing, Star Catcher. This ability was a bit similar to devouring the starry sky. The difference was that one devoured the opponent's star power, while the other gathered the sky's star power to enhance one's own power. If he used the star aspect and combined it with the Star Catcher ability, it would be a double explosion, reaching an extremely shocking level. As a result, a Divine Star Venerable's cultivation was not only heaven-defying, but they also had an additional amplification technique. Just this alone was enough to crush a great Star Venerable. It was precisely because of this that everyone felt how laughable Yi Tianyan's challenge was. It was undoubtedly equivalent to an ant trying to shake a tree with an egg. Flowing green palm. Celestial Star Venerable Mei Qing stretched out his hand and covered Yi Tianyan's side. The void was pierced, and a huge palm stretched out to press down on Yi Tianyan's side. The space was distorted, and it seemed like it would explode at any time. The gigantic palm had sealed off all of Yi Tianyan's escape routes. There was basically nowhere for him to escape to. Yi Tianyan had never planned to escape. He hadn't completely unleashed his power. He still had 80 cubic meters of star power. His hands flashed and 8 arms suddenly grew out from his back. This was the 8-armed Divine Ape Star Dharma idol. After using it, it could control more weapons. Yi Tianyan stretched out his hand and waved. 4-star venerable weapons fell into his hand. Controlling 4-star venerable weapons at once greatly enhanced his power. He only had one weapon before. After killing Candlestar and the others, he got 3-star venerable weapons. In total, he had 4-star venerable weapons. Brother Yi Catch. Tian Yuan and Tian Xinghuan both threw the star venerable treasures they had gotten to Yi Tianyan. In this way he had 6-star venerable weapons. The 6-star venerable weapons gave off the most dazzling light under his power. Chaotic star brilliance cut. Tianyan took a step forward. The power of the 7-colored king dragon burst out. He turned into a human-shaped giant dragon and confronted the huge palm that was coming down. The 6-star venerable weapons danced in the air. They turned into 6 flowing lights and swept forward. Boom! The terrifying light belt pierced through the gigantic palm that was covering the sky. Together with his entire body, he rushed over and directly smashed the astonishing power of the gigantic palm. Everyone's eyes widened. They didn't expect Tianyan to have this kind of power. Could he continue to raise it? It was really enviable for one person to use 6-star venerable weapons. Interesting, but that's it. Divine Star Venerable Meiqing was shocked. He didn't expect his palm to be split by Tianyan. If it had been another Grand Star Venerable in the late stage, he would have been flattened. Not only was Tianyan fine, but he could also continue to rush toward him. Divine Star Venerable Meiqing operated his powerful power again and waved his palm in Tianyan's direction. This time, the power he used was several levels higher, reaching the limit of his Divine Star Venerable level power. Blue Moon Palm. Divine Star Venerable Meiqing attacked with his palm again. This time, its power was several times stronger than before. It was much thicker and more solid. When one looked up, it looked like a real giant palm. It was made of flesh and blood, and the fine lines were what a real palm should look like. In fact, this was not a real palm, but a giant palm condensed by star power. It's over. Divine Star Venerable Meiqing was very confident in his move. Even Tianyan couldn't resist such a powerful palm. This palm was definitely a move that could only be resisted by a Divine Star Venerable. Boom! The giant palm and the 6 flowing lights collided, causing a huge explosion in the palace. The whole palace shook violently, as if it would collapse at any time. In fact, the damage caused was relatively small. The purple gold divine pavilion was too solid, and it couldn't break its solid defense. This guy is dead. Tian Yueming shook his head. Although he couldn't get the Star Venerable level treasure, at least he saw Tianyan die. Divine Star Venerable Meiqing must have taken away so many Divine Star Venerable weapons. It was impossible for them to be left here. Divine Star Venerable Meiqing was in short supply. When everyone thought that Tianyan was dead, a flowing light shot out and rushed toward Divine Star Venerable Meiqing. It hit Divine Star Venerable Meiqing at lightning speed. Divine Star Venerable Meiqing reacted quickly to block it, but it was too late. He was too confident in his move, so he was full of confidence in his move. Boom! Divine Star Venerable Meiqing was sent flying. He only managed to stop after retreating a long distance. His arm had caved in, and there were 6 deep marks around his body, each of which was bleeding. He hadn't expected Divine Star Venerable Meiqing to be injured. Chapter 2269. Divine Star Venerate Meiqing had suffered a big loss, which made them feel incredulous. They didn't expect that a dignified Divine Star Venerate would be injured by Tianyan. And it didn't seem to be a light injury. Hiding your strength isn't a good habit. Tianyan looked at the injured Divine Star Venerate Meiqing and smiled. He had some ideas in his mind. When he used his full strength, he could still exchange a few moves with Divine Star Venerate Meiqing without using the star aspect, and even gain the upper hand. It seemed that his current strength had reached the same level as a Divine Star Venerate without using the star aspect, or even slightly better. How dare you? Divine Star Venerate Meiqing was furious. A level 6 star aspect quickly emerged behind him. It was a double-headed dragon. The double-headed dragon roared as if it had broken out of Divine Star Venerate Meiqing's body. It rushed out in one breath, and violent power rushed in all directions. Roar! The terrifying dragon roar resounded throughout the purple gold divine pavilion. The cultivators who were slightly closer felt a tingling pain in their ears. When they reached out to touch it, they were shocked to the point of bleeding. Just the roar alone had such an impact. What kind of effect would it have if it was an attack? As soon as the star aspect appeared, the star power above also quickly gathered and condensed around Divine Star Venerate Meiqing. 60 cubic meters of star power. Compared to the star power Etianyan used, it was 20 cubic meters less. This couldn't be helped. Etianyan's ultimate move was against the rules. Coupled with the superposition of multiple star aspects, it caused the star power to reach an incredible level. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been stunned when they saw so much star power. 80 cubic meters of star power was a level that even divine star venerates couldn't reach. However, facing a divine star venerate, they still felt that there was no hope at all. The reason why divine star venerates were powerful was that their own strength was extremely tyrannical, not relying on star power to become strong. When one became stronger, they would become even more tyrannical under the superposition of star power. Using star power was just an icing on the cake, allowing one's strength to be fully exerted. Etianyan had a lot of star power, but the foundation of his power was far inferior to that of a divine star venerable, so no one was optimistic about him. Correspondingly, this was also quite heaven-defying. If Etianyan's cultivation reached the divine star venerable realm, just this 80 cubic meters of stellar power would be enough to crush divine star venerable Mei Qing. That was a matter for the future. As for now, no one was optimistic about Etianyan. Even though Etianyan had injured Mei Qing God Star Venerable, they didn't think much of it. At most, they were just a little surprised. After all, Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable hadn't unleashed his full power. He had just mobilized his own power in a normal manner. He didn't even use his true power, so this kind of victory couldn't be considered a victory. It was just because Mei Qingshan Star Venerable was careless. Now that Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable had truly unleashed his strength, even the purple gold Divine Pavilion trembled a little. This was the true power of a Divine Star Venerable. A power that a group of great Star Venerables looked up to. It's over, this kid. Their eyes were full of schadenfreude. The previous seemingly good battle results would only make Etianyan die faster. How are you going to resist? Jing Xian's beautiful eyes stared at Etianyan. She wanted to see how Etianyan would save himself this time. Facing a Divine Star Venerable, it could be said that all great Star Venerables could only give up resisting. Unless the opponent was seriously injured and their power was greatly weakened, fighting a Divine Star Venerable head-on would be courting death. What else can you use to deal with me this time? Can your stellar power continue to increase? Or do you have more Star Venerable level treasures? Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable's eyes were full of contempt. You might be the first great Star Venerable to be able to force me to unleash the Star Dharma aspect. Under the power of a Divine Star Venerable, which great Star Venerable wouldn't give up resisting? When Etianyan saw the Star Dharma aspect behind Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable, he smiled. He was so fearless facing Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable, because he knew that Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable's Star Dharma aspect was the double-headed dragon. In addition to knowing the double-headed dragon Star Dharma aspect, he was also the master of the purple gold Divine Pavilion. With these two conditions, even a Divine Star Venerable would be crushed by him. He would never do something he wasn't sure of. It was only because he was confident that he was so fearless. It's very easy to deal with you. Etianyan stretched out his hand and waved. 6 Star Venerable level weapons shone with a cold light, ready to shoot out at any time. I'll use these 6 Star Venerable level weapons to kill you. It's that easy. Ha ha ha, are you an idiot? Do you think the same move will work on me? Even 9 Star Venerable level weapons would be trash in front of me, let alone 6. Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable's eyes were full of disdain. The others shook their heads. Even if one wanted to brag, one must have the ability to back it up. What did these 6 Star Venerable level weapons mean to a Divine Star Venerable? Really? That's not necessarily true. Etianyan took a step forward and said in a cold voice, "Get lost." The phantom of the 7-colored Emperor Dragon pressed forward, and the domineering dragon power pressed forward. As the domineering dragon power pressed forward, the double-headed dragon Star Dharma aspect behind Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable wailed and quickly shrank back, as if it had encountered a superior. The double-headed dragon Star Dharma aspect shrank back, which meant that Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable's power had been completely cut off. All of a sudden, he fell from his peak state to the state when he was fighting against Etianyan. In this state, he would be cut by Etianyan. Even if he was only slightly stronger, he was still strong. At least he wouldn't be crushed. What's going on? My star Dharma aspect. Meiqing Divine Star Venerable's face changed. This was something he had never experienced before. The key was that he felt that his star Dharma aspect couldn't come out no matter how hard he called it, as if it had been completely sealed. What's wrong? Don't you want to continue? If you don't, it'll be my turn. Yi Tianyan walked towards Meiqing Divine Star Venerable step by step. He had a smile on his face, as if he was looking at a clown. This. Meiqing Divine Star Venerable's face darkened. If this went on, he would definitely be suppressed. Since you don't want to erupt, I'll start. Yi Tianyan smiled and rushed towards Meiqing Divine Star Venerable. He waved the 6-star Venerable level weapons and slashed over. Meiqing Divine Star Venerable's eyes were full of fear. This was the first time in his history that he had felt so frightened by a Grand Star Venerable. Chapter 2270. Meiqing's Celestial Star Venerate's star aspect being suppressed was beyond everyone's expectations. That was an extremely powerful double-headed dragon star aspect. Under Meiqing's Celestial Star Venerate's training, it could be said that it could unleash a very strong power. Who knew that it would be suppressed by Yi Tianyun's unique star aspect, and it could not even release its power. As a result, Meiqing's Celestial Star Venerate's power suddenly returned to its starting point. Under such circumstances, his power was not much stronger than Yi Tianyun's. However, Yi Tianyan had already surpassed Meiqing's Celestial Star Venerate under the continuous stacking. Boom boom boom. Yi Tianyan and Meiqing's Celestial Star Venerate clashed crazily. Every heavy strike left a deep wound on Meiqing's Celestial Star Venerate's body. Meiqing's Celestial Star Venerate was getting more and more embarrassed. He was repeatedly pushed back by Yi Tianyan. He did not look like a Divine Star Venerate at all. Seeing the scene in front of them, they were dumbfounded. A dignified Divine Star Venerate was being beaten up just like that? What did I just see? A Divine Star Venerate being beaten up by a Great Star Venerate. That's Meiqing's Celestial Star Venerate, a very old Divine Star Venerate, but now he's being beaten up. It's really terrifying. How did he do it? Even his opponent's star aspect is being suppressed. No wonder that kid is so fearless. This suppression ability alone is enough to suppress Meiqing's Celestial Star Venerate. They were all stunned. The sudden reversal made them somewhat unable to react. Everyone thought that Yi Tianyan was dead for sure. Who knew that in the blink of an eye, Yi Tianyan would completely crush Meiqing's Celestial Star Venerate. Although Yi Tianyan did not completely crush him in terms of power, at least he would not be suppressed by Meiqing's Celestial Star Venerate. I didn't expect him to have such an ability. Jing Xian's eyes flickered. This time, Yi Tianyan had really surprised her. She had thought that there was no way he could turn the tables, but who knew he could? Tianyu Yuan and the others breathed a sigh of relief. It seemed that Yi Tianyan was not in any danger. Under the continuous onslaught, more and more scars appeared on Star Venerable Meiqing's body. His body was bleeding profusely, and his complexion was extremely ugly. This was the most humiliating fight he had ever had. How could he be happy about being suppressed by a Grand Star Venerable? What the hell is going on? What kind of power is this? Star Venerable Meiqing Shen clenched his teeth. He quickly turned around and fled. He knew that if this continued, he would be severely injured by Yi Tianyan. Yi Tianyan didn't seem to be exhausted at all. If he continued like this, he would definitely be severely injured. At that time, he wouldn't even be able to escape. In order to survive, he could only choose to escape. It was a little humiliating, but it was better than death, right? Especially when he had no chance of winning, he could only choose to escape. Trying to escape? Yi Tianyan quickly chased after him. However, Meiqing Deity Star Venerable seemed to be even faster. He quickly fled forward. Damn it, I will come back to avenge today's humiliation one day. Meiqing Deity Star Venerable sped up again. He seemed to have activated some treasure, which greatly increased his escape speed. The two of them quickly disappeared in the passage, leaving a group of people looking at each other in dismay. They all saw the shock in each other's eyes. This scene was too shocking. A divine star venerable was being chased by a great star venerable. In the past, this would have been unimaginable. The distance between Yi Tianyan and Meiqing deity star venerable was getting wider. Meiqing deity star venerable was too fast, far surpassing Yi Tianyan. You want to catch up to me? Impossible. Killing intent flashed in the depths of Meiqing deity star venerable's eyes. I'll see how to deal with you after this is over. He wanted to leave first and then think about how to deal with Yi Tianyan while being suppressed by the power. He couldn't just let it go. He had to avenge his humiliation. He had expected to see a helpless expression on Yi Tianyan's face, but he was soon disappointed. Yi Tianyan didn't look disappointed. Instead, he showed a confident smile. Then Yi Tianyan reached out and raised his hand. Meiqing deity star venerable felt himself being sucked in by a force. He couldn't resist it at all, and he was teleported away. At the same time, Yi Tianyan also disappeared. The next moment, the two of them appeared in a small secret room. The door was closed, and there was no way to escape. What's going on? Meiqing deity star venerable was shocked. He had been sucked in inexplicably. When he looked around, he knew he was trapped in the secret room. What's going on? You're trapped in here. How are you going to escape now? Yi Tianyan walked towards Meiqing deity star venerable with a smile on his face. How did this happen? Did I step on some mechanism? Meiqing deity star venerable looked pale. He couldn't escape now, and he was in a predicament. Yi Tianyan still had 6-star venerable level weapons in his hands. In this secret room, he could exert more power. Did you step on a mechanism? I guess you did. Yi Tianyan said with a smile. Do you think you can get rid of me by being trapped here? If you really want to fight, I'll just die with you. Meiqing deity star venerable had a fierce look in his eyes. If they really fought, he could definitely get rid of Yi Tianyan, but he reckoned he would also die. Die with me? Are you worthy? Yi Tianyan reached out and raised his hand. Suddenly, the whole secret room shone with a bright light. It wrapped around Meiqing deity star venerable from all directions, trapping him in an area as if he was locked in a cage. What's going on? Meiqing deity star venerable was dumbfounded. How could this kind of light net appear to trap him? More importantly, why wasn't Yi Tianyan trapped? What's going on? Yi Tianyan walked up to Meiqing deity star venerable step by step, and said with a faint smile, The entire purple gold divine pavilion is under my control. What do you think is going on? You've become the master of the purple gold divine pavilion? Meiqing deity star venerable's heart sank. If such a huge purple gold divine pavilion was under his control, it meant that he was invincible here. If he still had a conflict with Yi Tianyan here, wouldn't he be courting death? That's right. You ran away so quickly that I could catch you and bring you in. If I did this outside, it would be really easy to be exposed. Yi Tianyan said with a smile. Now it's all right. How do you think I should get rid of you? Meiqing deity star venerable's pupils shrank. This time he was at his mercy. He couldn't resist. Yi Tianyan didn't even need to use any power to get rid of him. He only needed to mobilize the power of the purple gold divine pavilion to get rid of him. Don't kill me. I'm willing to work for you for a year. Meiqing deity star venerable's face twitched. He could only compromise. He didn't want to die. A year? Are you kidding me? Yi Tianyan looked him up and down and said indifferently, Your life is only worth a year? I'm a divine star venerable. If you want to destroy that family of Scarlet Moon planet, I can easily help you. A year is enough for you to dominate a large area. Meiqing deity star venerable said angrily. Chapter 2271. Yi Tianyan didn't mind killing Meiqing celestial star sovereign. Even if he was a decent fighter, to him, it was just a big pile of star energy. Therefore, if he didn't agree to it and killed Meiqing celestial star sovereign, it would be quite worth it. Meiqing celestial star sovereign's expression was ugly. He glared at him and said, 10,000 years? You want me to be your fighter for 10,000 years? That's impossible. It's too long. 1,000 years at most. He was a dignified divine star sovereign, and it was quite shameful to be a fighter. 10,000 years was a bit too long. Perhaps to him, 10,000 years would pass in the blink of an eye. It wasn't a long time, but he didn't want to be a fighter for that long. It was too shameful. If that's the case, then there's no room for discussion. Yi Tianyan reached out and flicked his finger. The net of light around him gradually gathered, ready to wrap around Mei Qing's celestial star sovereign. Perhaps this net of light couldn't kill him, but it could at least trap him. Once he was trapped, he was basically dead. At that time, how could he let Yi Tianyan kill him at will? As the net of light shrank bit by bit, Mei Qing's celestial star sovereign's expression became extremely ugly. Not even 1,000 years? 1,000 years was enough to help Yi Tianyan do a lot of things. Ruling Wild Dragon Planet wouldn't be a problem. But Yi Tianyan still wasn't satisfied. As if he had to wait for 10,000 years. 5,000 years. Mei Qing's celestial star sovereign shouted through gritted teeth. He still wanted to live. It hadn't been easy to cultivate to this point, so how could he be willing to die? Yi Tianyan was indifferent, as if he hadn't heard anything. He stood expressionlessly on the side. The net of light continued to shrink, which meant that Yi Tianyan wasn't tempted at all. He completely ignored Mei Qing's celestial star sovereign's words. As long as he didn't meet the requirements, he wouldn't agree. 8,000 years. That's a long enough time. Even on planet Crimson Moon, you can become an overlord. There are very few divine star venerables left on Scarlet Moon Planet. With my ability, I can definitely help you dominate Scarlet Moon Planet. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing roared loudly, his eyes red. 10,000 years it won't change, Yi Tianyan said indifferently. I asked you to be my fighter, not to help me dominate Scarlet Moon Planet. Besides, I don't need your help to dominate Scarlet Moon Planet. It's just a matter of time. Star Venerable Mei Qing's expression changed slightly, but he didn't refute this. As long as Yi Tianyan took another step forward, he would be able to break through to the Divine Star Venerable realm. It was difficult, but it didn't mean there was no chance. Once he broke through to the Divine Star Venerable level, he would definitely be able to dominate Scarlet Moon Planet. He was already so heaven-defying before breaking through to the Divine Star Venerable realm. What would happen when he broke through to the Divine Star Venerable level? As time passed, the light net got closer and closer. At this time, Star Venerable Mei Qing gritted his teeth and said, "Good. 10,000 years it is. Just don't make me do some low-level things." "Don't worry, I won't make you do those low-level things. If it's not necessary, I won't make you do anything." Yi Tianyan smiled faintly and said, "I just want you to be a helper and help me suppress some things. Most of the things are done by myself." Star Venerable Mei Qing heaved a sigh of relief. As long as he wasn't asked to do those low-level things, it was fine. Those low-level things were things like burning, killing, and looting. He really didn't like doing such things. They were too low-level. "All right then, I'll make the oath now." Star Venerable Mei Qing immediately made an oath, swearing to help Yi Tianyan do things for 10,000 years. As long as he wasn't asked to die, he would basically do it. At the same time, he couldn't hurt Yi Tianyan, not even his family and friends. After making this oath, Yi Tianyan waved his hand, and the light net covering Star Venerable Mei Qing disappeared. "It's been a pleasure working with you." Yi Tianyan smiled and said, "You haven't broken through in a long time, right? If you follow me, you will definitely be able to improve your cultivation further." "I hope so." Star Venerable Mei Qing shook his head disapprovingly. He didn't believe Yi Tianyan's words at all. If he wanted to say such things, he would at least need to break through to the Divine Star Venerable realm, right? He wasn't even a Divine Star Venerable, yet he said he would help him break through? "Before we go out, let's settle some things first." Yi Tianyan stretched out his hand and waved. A large group of people appeared in the secret room, which stunned Star Venerable Mei Qing. "Why did you call them in?" Star Venerable Mei Qing was puzzled. "Because they are all from the Giant Beast clan. Through self-evolution, they look no different from cultivators," Yi Tianyan explained. "What? Giant Beast clan?" Star Venerable Mei Qing was shocked. He looked at these people up and down. He couldn't tell that they were from the Giant Beast clan at all. "Bastard, who are you? How dare you capture us?" One of them immediately shouted at Tianyan when he reacted. Is it important who I am? It's enough that I know you are from the Giant Beast clan. You tried to sneak in and take this purple gold divine pavilion for yourself, right? Unfortunately, I have already become the master of this place. You won't have a chance, Tianyan said with a smile. How is this possible? You have become the master of this place? They were shocked and their expressions were very ugly. If that was the case, then their plan would be ruined, and they would have spent so much effort in vain. Nothing is impossible. And you, the Evil Spirit clan and the Green Demon clan, you really have good methods. You have hidden yourselves so deeply that even you have self-evolved. You are no different from normal cultivators. Tianyan looked at a group of cultivators with a cold gaze. Others might not be able to see through them, but that didn't mean that he couldn't. After they were seen through, their expressions changed. They hadn't expected that they would be seen through. They often wandered around in some cities, but they had never been seen through. As long as they didn't use their full strength, they wouldn't be seen through. Who knew that they would be seen through here? Nonsense, we are not from the Green Demon clan, nor are we from the Evil Spirit clan. You are slandering us. They all tried to defend themselves in an attempt to deceive him. I didn't call you here for you to defend yourselves. Tianyan waved his hand, and a dense net of light enveloped them, entangling them. He then tightened his grip, turning them into blood that splattered in all directions. When the blood splattered in front of them, they all erected a barrier to block it, blocking the blood outside. In an instant, all of the captured cultivators were harvested, and they turned into a large wave of star energy that surged toward Tianyan. He was very satisfied. Not only could he destroy a group of Giant Beast clan and the Green Demon clan, but he could also earn a large amount of star energy. He couldn't break through right now, but he wouldn't mind having too much star energy. Meiqing God Star Venerable frowned. He didn't really believe that these people were from the Giant Beast clan. Only when they were all dead and the blood flowed out did he feel it. Chapter 2272. Divine Star Venerable Meiqing thought that Tianyan was making things up, but when he saw the blood and the corpses, he realized that everything was true. Didn't the Giant Beast clan go extinct? Even if they are left, they are only a small part of them. I can't believe that they can evolve to this extent. Divine Star Venerable Meiqing was shocked. This was beyond his understanding. The Giant Beast clan has not gone extinct at all, and they are gradually growing stronger. Now they are constantly infiltrating. They want to destroy all the powerhouses of the forces on planet Crimson Moon, and then directly rule the entire planet. Tianyan explained. This is just one of the groups. There are many more outside, and I don't know what they are plotting. Is there such a thing? Divine Star Venerable Meiqing was taken aback. He looked at Tianyan in shock. How did you know about this? I found out a long time ago, but I didn't announce it. How many people would believe me if I announced it? Tianyan shook his head. Fortunately, I am now in control of the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion. Otherwise, if it was controlled by them, it would be extremely troublesome. Naturally, the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion could not be controlled. Tianyan simply explained the consequences. The original intention of the Purple Cloud Star Emperor was to screen out the combat power, not to find an inheritor. Therefore, no matter how outstanding the other party's performance was, he would not transfer the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion to them. Tianyan was an exception. He was the inheritor of the five-colored Emperor Dragon. The Purple Cloud Star Emperor intended to give him a little help, so he handed over the control. That's true. Divine Star Venerable Meiqing had a complicated look in his eyes. He did not expect Tianyan to have such a plan. After thinking about it carefully, there were many members of the Giant Beast clan surrounding them. When they thought that they had returned from a rewarding journey and had won everything, they realized that the Oriole was behind them. Now, I will give you a task. Tianyan did not allow him to agree and said directly, hide and deal with the Giant Beast clan at any time. This shouldn't be some low-level task for you, right? Of course not. We cultivators have always been incompatible with the Giant Beast clan. Since they want to destroy us, don't blame us for being impolite. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing said in a deep voice. How about this? I will summon some friends to come over. I don't know if they can make it in time. It should be no problem. The Giant Beast clan must be waiting for an opportunity. This opportunity should only be taken when the Violet Gold Divine Pavilion closes. Yi Tianyan smiled lightly and said, I am now the owner of the Purple Gold Divine Pavilion. I can close it whenever I want. There is no need to worry about anything. Tian Star Venerable Yu. Yi Tianyan Venang on. Yi Tien. Star Venhold Star will to call some friends. They could defeat them up. Ma. They have Divine Star. Venerable Divine Star did Yin Yin say the demon. Star had up. Tianyan. When Tifuli, the Star, the E Star, the elders of Emperor, he had have up. When they saw Yi Tianyan coming back, all of their faces changed. It was quite interesting. Many of them looked at Yi Tianyan with even more respect. They did not dare to be disrespectful. Even a Divine Star Venerable had been defeated. Even if he did not die, this ability was enough to prove how strong he was. Tian Yueming and the others had ugly expressions on their faces. They did not expect that the person they wanted to kill the most would not be dead. Correspondingly, they felt their hearts tremble. Who could stop him if he came to cause trouble for them? The Zhu family was much stronger than the Tian family. So many Great Star Venerables had been killed. The Tian family's Great Star Venerables might not even be enough. Chu Hatong's side was relieved. Fortunately, they did not start a conflict with Yi Tianyan. Otherwise, the Chu family would be like the Zhu family if they really fought. Fortunately, you predicted the danger in advance. If we had forcefully taken his treasure, it would have been really troublesome. Chu Hatong smiled bitterly. Fortunately, they did not act impulsively. If they had not listened to Jing Xian, they would have been done for. Even if they could resist, given Yi Tianyan's ability, if he came back later to take revenge, the Chu family would not be able to resist him. He is the one who has the unique star Dharma idol of Desolate Dragon Star. Jing Xian said with a complicated expression on her face. When she saw the unique star Dharma idol on Yi Tianyan's body, she immediately knew who he was. Yi Tianyan did not want to expose his unique star Dharma aspect because it was too easy to recognize. There were only a few unique star Dharma aspects. It would be easy to figure them out, unless they were hidden. However, those with a strong information network could easily gather the corresponding information. Jing Xian could figure it out mainly because she had accurate information. That was why she could recognize it immediately. The unique star Dharma aspect of the desolate dragon planet. Chu Hatong was startled. He opened his eyes wide and looked at Yi Tianyan. He is the one from the desolate dragon planet? The desolate dragon planet is in such a miserable state, but it still has a genius like him. It is so strange. It is strange, but it is the truth. Jing Xian sighed. I have guessed whether he is that genius or not. However, he did not show his star Dharma aspect, so my guess was not accurate. During the trial, I wanted to see him do it. Who knew that he would rather lose than do it? Jing Xian shook her head. Anyway, it did not make any difference now. After all, he had been exposed. She had finally figured out Yi Tianyan's real identity. Yi Tianyan walked over. The warriors around him moved aside to make a path for him. No one dared to provoke him. Who would dare to provoke a god of slaughter? When he arrived, he cast a calm glance at Tian Yueming and the others. The latter shuddered and didn't dare to look at him. It was especially the case for Tian Shengfeng and the others, who had a grudge against Yi Tianyan. They had been glaring at Yi Tianyan angrily, but now they didn't dare to look at him. They were afraid that Yi Tianyan would hold a grudge against them and drag the Tian family down with him. That would be troublesome. If they asked others for help, they would not be so proactive. No one dared to provoke this god of slaughter. Thank you for your help. These are your weapons. Yi Tianyan returned the two-star venerable weapons. Then he turned his head to look at Tian Yueming and said calmly, the weapons have been returned to them. Aren't you going to ask them if they have taken them? Tian Yueming's face twitched. He coughed and said, we suddenly changed our mind. Since the Celestial Link wants to leave the family to travel outside, let's go. If they want to come back, let's come back. Tian Yueming didn't dare to ask for the weapons. He was afraid that he would lose his life if he asked for them. As long as one wasn't blind, he would know that Yi Tianyan had a good relationship with them. In such a situation, who would dare to provoke him? Chapter 2273. Yi Tianyan glanced at them indifferently. As for the decision, it was Tian Yuan and the others' business, not him. Tian Yuan thought for a while, and took out a star venerable weapon. He came up to Tian Yueming and handed it over. He said in a deep voice, "This is the price for my sister's freedom. Here are the other 2 star venerable weapons. We'll talk about them later." He didn't take advantage of Yi Tianyan's power to refuse to give him the weapons. Instead, he fulfilled his promise and gave the weapons to Tian Yueming. Tian Yueming's eyes were filled with greed. He took the weapons without hesitation. Since it was Tian Yuan who had given them to him, what else could Yi Tianyan say? "Then I won't stand on ceremony." Tian Yueming glanced at Yi Tianyan. He was relieved when he saw Yi Tianyan didn't react. "Okay. I'll wait for you to give me the other 2 star venerable weapons." The others were all envious. It was good enough to get a star venerable weapon. As for the star venerable weapon in the heavenly star ring's hands, Tian Yuan didn't intend to hand it over. He thought it was good for the heavenly star ring. It was quite difficult to find a suitable weapon, and it was even more difficult to find a star-level weapon. Therefore, Tian Yuan didn't intend to hand it over. He would wait until he had other weapons. "Brother Tian, here are 2 weapons. I'll lend them to you." Yi Tianyan took out 2 star venerable weapons and gave them to Tian Yuan. They were his trophies. Tian Yuan was struck dumb, but he didn't think too much about it. He took them and nodded at Yi Tianyan. Then he handed them over and said, "These are the last 2. After you take them away, the heavenly star ring will have nothing to do with the Tian family." Tian Yueming was struck dumb. He sighed and took them. "Okay. From now on, you have nothing to do with the Tian family." Tian Yueming had made this decision. He could only accept it. With Yi Tianyan's ability, he might be able to break through to the divine star venerable rank in the future. He could have used his relationship with the heavenly star ring to protect the Tian family. Who knew that now that they had completely cut off all ties with Yi Tianyan, it would have nothing to do with them anymore. This was his own choice. He couldn't regret it even if he wanted to. The rims of Tian Xinghuan's eyes reddened. She was still a little reluctant. After all, she had grown up in the Tian family. However, the way the Tian family did things was really too chilling. She was captured because they wanted to arrange a marriage alliance with the Tian family. Without her own choice leaving the Tian family, she would not regret it. The surrounding cultivators were very envious of him. At the same time, he felt that Tian Yuan was a bit stupid. With Yi Tianyan as their backer, how would they dare ask for star venerable level weapons? Tian Yuan had wasted the star venerable level weapon by doing this. To others, heaven-traveling Yuan was an idiot. As for Yi Tianyan, he was very appreciative of Tian Yuan's actions. It was undeniable that the Tian family was despicable, but it was the place where they had been raised. Even if Tian Yuan had cut off all ties with the Tian family, he would still have paid the corresponding price for raising him. To put it bluntly, Tian Yuan was a loyal person. With such a person by his side, he could be trusted to stand behind him instead of constantly guarding against him. This was the kind of person he admired the most. That was why he was willing to give 2 star venerable level treasures to Tian Yuan to solve this problem. Besides, he could take all the star venerable level treasures in the purple gold divine pavilion. 2 star venerable level treasures were not worth mentioning. There were hundreds of star venerable level weapons in the weapon selection area they had entered. Why would they worry about not having enough weapons to use? It would be better to let Tian Yuan repay the favor, so he wouldn't have to think too much about this. Tian Yuan thought the same way. Since he owed Yi Tianyan anyway, he might as well owe it to Yi Tianyan and work for Yi Tianyan from now on. After that, Tian Yuan took a deep breath and said, "Brother Yi, thank you for your help. If I find star venerable level treasures in the future, I will return them to you. Don't rush. Let's talk about this later." Yi Tianyan smiled. He believed Tian Yuan, But he really wasn't in a hurry to get those weapons. Since there were so many people outside, he didn't want to expose his secret. At that moment, Jing Xian walked up to him. She said with a smile, "I didn't expect you to be the owner of the Star Dharma idol of the desolate dragon planet. What a surprise!" As soon as he said that, the surrounding people turned to look at him. Their eyes filled with shock. They hadn't expected him to be the owner of the Star Dharma idol of the desolate dragon planet. Just as Candlestar had thought, the owner of the Star Dharma idol of the desolate dragon planet couldn't have a high level of cultivation. After all, resources were limited. They hadn't expected him to be so incredible. "Miss Jing Xian, you kept probing me because you wanted to know whether I was the one from the desolate dragon planet, right?" Yi Tianyan said with a smile. "That's right. But young master, you hid it too well. You didn't want to use it. If you used it, you would be able to deal with the puppets on the 10th floor. Jing Xian smiled. "Young Master Yi, would you like to visit the Chu family?" Jing Xian directly invited Yi Tianyan here, which surprised everyone. Jing Xian is so bold, she directly invited Yi Tianyan. Could it be possible for them to be together? Now that he thought about it, it was truly terrifying. Unfortunately, the Zhu family was in a terrible situation. "I don't have time for that. Let's talk about it later." Yi Tianyan smiled. He suddenly turned to look at the other practitioners and said in a deep voice, "Since you don't have time, I will tell you something about the Giant Beast clan." "The Giant Beast clan?" They looked at Yi Tianyan in confusion. They didn't know what Yi Tianyan wanted to say. "The Giant Beast clan hasn't been wiped out. They have even infiltrated us. There are still many of them surrounding us," Yi Tianyan said in a deep voice. "So you should be prepared to fight against the Giant Beast clan at any time." "How is that possible? The Giant Beast clan is almost wiped out. Why do we need to fight against them?" "That's right. They are almost wiped out. What do we need to fight against them?" If they weren't afraid of Yi Tianyan's power, they would have scolded him a long time ago. How could they not be scolded for saying such stupid things? Yi Tianyan suddenly swung his hand. A few corpses were thrown on the ground. He said in a deep voice, "Look carefully. Whose corpses are these?" After taking a closer look, they widened their eyes in disbelief. This is the Giant Beast clan?" Chapter 2274. When they saw the corpses that Yi Tianyan threw out, they were all stunned. They did not expect that these were really from the Giant Beast clan. On the surface, they were not as wild as the Giant Beast clan. They were in the form of cultivators, which made them extremely shocked. Yi Tianyan throwing out these corpses at this time finally satisfied all the conditions. First of all, his strength was enough to deter others. This way he would have authority to speak. Furthermore, he had more charisma. After he made some requests, there wouldn't be any fierce resistance. This is the evolved Giant Beast clan. They have evolved to this extent. They can easily mix in among us, and it is difficult to discover them. Yi Tianyan said in a deep voice, "I only discovered this recently. When I discovered it, they had already spread throughout the entire Purple Gold Divine Pavilion. There are probably other ambushes outside. According to the latest news, it is very likely that they are lying in ambush outside. Their goal is very simple. They want to capture all of us in one fell swoop, and then rule the entire Crimson Moon planet." Yi Tianyan said word by word. At this time, when he said it, it was much more convincing. It was not like before when he said it out loud, he would be looked down upon. Their expressions now were different. Most of them were shocked. They did not expect that the Giant Beast clan, which was almost wiped out back then, would now make a comeback. "No wonder I have a bad feeling recently. I keep feeling that we will be in danger." Jing Xian stood up and said with a frown, "So it is the Giant Beast clan. Looks like the uneasy factor is this Giant Beast clan." Jing Xian came to the side of the corpse and squatted down to examine it. She said in a deep voice, "Yes, it is indeed the Giant Beast clan. Even though the appearance has changed, the internal situation has not changed. This kind of evolution ability is very peculiar. It can constantly compress its previously huge physique and finally shrink it to the size of a normal cultivator. Because the physique is compressed, the power becomes more condensed. If we really fight, it will be difficult to deal with them in the same realm. Jing Xian analyzed one by one. Her analysis was very accurate, which made the cultivators at the side even more shocked. Yi Tianyun looked at Jing Xian, who was squatting at the side. He had to say that Jing Xian was really fascinated in this aspect. As long as she was interested in something, she would continue analyzing it until she figured out the real situation. After studying everything, Jing Xian stood up and fell into deep thought. She seemed to be thinking about something, but the important thing was what the cultivators around her were thinking. In general, these are the reasons I want to say. I want you to be on your guard. Yi Tianyun glanced at them and said solemnly, "If possible, I hope we can unite and fight against the giant beast clan together." Now his words had the right to speak. When everyone heard this, they looked at each other. After a moment of silence, an elder of the clan stepped forward. "We agree. Since the giant beasts have come knocking on our door, we can't just sit and wait for death. They want to destroy us, so we'll destroy them again." Yes. I didn't expect the giant beast race to become like this. We wouldn't even know when they would sneak in and attack us from behind. I don't know. Is there any more detailed information? For example, the situation with the giant beasts, so that we can plan how to deal with them. All of a sudden, many clans gathered together to unite against the external threat. Previously, there were still some hostility, but immediately, there was some unity. When it came to dealing with the external threat, they seemed very united. After all, if they did not fight against the external threat, the giant beast race would take advantage of the situation. Especially now that they saw the giant beast race in such a state, it made them feel a sense of crisis. There isn't any detailed information. We don't know what their real situation is either. However, one thing is for sure. They are waiting for the purple gold divine pavilion to close so that they can reap the benefits. Yi Tianyun might not have been able to guess other things, but he could at least guess this. If it weren't for the control of the purple gold divine pavilion, they wouldn't even have sent their clansmen in. Instead, they would wait for the cultivators to return from a rewarding journey before launching a ruthless sneak attack. When the time came, they would fight to the death inside, and the giant beast race would come out to intercept them. One could imagine the situation. In that case, let's beat them at their own game. When the purple gold divine pavilion closes, we will look like we are scattered, but when the time comes, we will gather together and deal with them directly. This was the only solution that Yi Tianyun could think of. Yes, young Master Yi's suggestion isn't bad. It's best to form a formation and charge over, especially a large-scale formation. Jing Xian interjected at this moment. According to my deduction, I have a vague feeling that this battle will be very difficult. It's very likely that we will be in danger. Obviously, the things they have prepared will be quite terrifying. Miss Jing Xian, do you have a way to deal with it? Yi Tianyun looked at Jing Xian. He had to admit that Jing Xian was quite capable. I don't have a way to deal with it. My deduction isn't omnipotent. I can only predict a little bit of danger. Jing Xian thought about it and said, I can only say that we have to work together to deal with them. Otherwise we will definitely lose. We have so many Grand Star Venerables here. Do we have to be afraid of them? That's right. We have so many Grand Star Venerables here, and we aren't fighting among ourselves. We won't fight to the death. It won't be so dangerous if we charge out, right? They did not really believe that the giant beasts were so powerful. They believed that the giant beasts had made a comeback. However, they had never thought that so many experts of their clans would be gathered here. There were at least 100 Grand Star Venerables. Why would they worry about the giant beasts when they had such luxurious equipment? It's up to you whether you believe it or not. Jing Xian ignored them. Instead, she focused her gaze on Yi Tianyun. However, I've deduced something. He can lead us out of this hopeless situation. Everyone was dumbfounded. Yi Tianyun could lead them out of this hopeless situation. How? Yi Tianyun was also dumbfounded. He had not expected Jing Xian to say that. Miss Jing Xian's premonitions have always been accurate. Then, the Tianyuan clan is willing to follow your orders. The Wind Dragon clan is also willing to follow your orders. All of them chose to follow Yi Tianyun's orders after hearing Jing Xian's words. They immediately became more cohesive. As more and more clans joined in, some of them, who were reluctant at first, joined in the end. I know you want to unite. I'll help you. Remember to repay me after this. Jing Xian winked at him. Chapter 2275. Although Jing Xian was just making it up, it had to be said that her words had a more inciting effect. This was mainly because of her reputation. She could predict certain things, so basically everyone believed her words. As long as they weren't too extreme, they would believe her. For example, she predicted that the Purple Gold Divinity Pavilion was filled with countless dangers, and that those who entered would die. No one would listen to her. Only God knew if she was lying to them on purpose so they wouldn't enter. Therefore, even if they had to risk their lives, they would still rush into the Purple Gold Divinity Pavilion. They didn't believe in such predictions, but some special ones would still believe it. For example, Yi Tianyun could lead them out of danger. Considering Yi Tianyun's strength, they still believed it. If Yi Tianyun was weak and often beaten up, they definitely wouldn't believe it. Yi Tianyun was rather grateful for Jing Xian's help. It was undoubtedly the best thing for them to be more cohesive. This way, when they fought their way out, even if they had to fight the giant beast race head-on, they wouldn't be defeated immediately. At the very least, it was enough that they wouldn't fight each other. After forming a united front, they continued to search for treasures. Those who had to train still had to continue. They were now waiting for the Purple Gold Divinity Pavilion to close. Once it did, there might be a huge battle. During this time, they could do whatever they wanted. Unbeknownst to them, the control of the Purple Gold Divinity Pavilion was now in Yi Tianyun's hands. He could close it whenever he wanted. He didn't even have to close it. However, he wasn't in a hurry. Divine Star Venerate Mei Qing had told him that he had to find some helpers. Naturally, he had to wait. Time passed quickly. Soon, it was time for the Purple Gold Divinity Pavilion to close normally. Every time the Purple Gold Divinity Pavilion appeared, it would close at a certain time. Therefore, they all calculated the time and gathered at the exit. They used the transportation array to return to the initial region. There were still some factions here that were still searching for the entrance to the passageway. They wouldn't give up no matter what. If they could go in, they might be able to collect some good stuff. Therefore, they wouldn't waste this opportunity. However, now that a large number of powerhouses surged out, they were all dumbfounded. With so many experts coming out, it meant that it was almost over. It was even more likely that they had finished plundering the place. Then why would they still go in? Great Star Venerable Heavenly Cloud, we're ready. We can rush out at any time. We're ready as well. Do you have any instructions? Groups of experts were waiting for Yi Tianyun's instructions. Unknowingly, they had all started to treat Yi Tianyun as the center. Perhaps this was the key to having strength. I don't have any instructions. Every family has a different way of fighting. It's too difficult to gather all of you. Just follow your own pace. I don't want to say anything unnecessary. I only want to say one thing, and that is, when we fight against the giant beasts, I will be at the forefront. Yi Tianyun's eyes were filled with fighting spirit as he looked at them. He was also prepared to fight at any time. Many families nodded. Fighting according to their methods was undoubtedly the most suitable. If he arranged some random methods, it might be even more troublesome. While they were preparing, a voice was suddenly heard. I'm back. Yi Tianyun did not look for the owner of the voice. The owner of the voice was none other than Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable. Since Mei Qing Divine Star Venerable was ready, it was almost time to act. He immediately controlled the Purple Gold Divinity Pavilion to close. This was the only way to start this battle. Rumble. The Purple Gold Divinity Pavilion began to shake. The people inside started to get restless. It seems like the Purple Gold Divinity Pavilion is closing a little early this time. It's almost time. The Purple Gold Divinity Pavilion doesn't even appear at a fixed time. It might close a little earlier. Alright then. Get ready for a big battle. I hope nothing happens. They believed that the giant beasts were getting stronger and stronger. Since they had evolved to such an extent, they were definitely not simple. As for whether a large group of giant beasts would gather outside, that was not certain. In any case, they had to be fully prepared. It would be too late if they fell into the enemy's trap. Soon, before the purple gold divinity pavilion closed, they flew out of the main entrance. After they flew out one by one, there were still many cultivators waiting outside for the purple gold divinity pavilion's alms. It was as if nothing had changed. Everyone squatted outside to collect treasures. I don't think I saw any giant beasts. They glanced around, but they didn't see any giant beasts charging over, surrounding them so tightly that not even a drop of water could escape. Nothing had changed. It was as if everything Tianyan had said was fake. However, they did not let their guard down. They would not let their guard down until the entire purple gold divinity pavilion closed. Damn it, the purple gold divinity pavilion closed so soon? I didn't earn anything here. What a pity. I thought I could earn another galaxy-grade weapon. Who knew it would close so early? We can only wait for the next time. I don't know when the next time will be. The cultivators outside had no idea that the giant beasts would attack. They were all immersed in the disappointment of the purple gold divinity pavilion closing. Finally, when all the powerhouses had come out and the purple gold divinity pavilion was about to sink completely, dozens of black figures descended from above. They were still quite a distance away from them. Their appearance immediately attracted everyone's attention. The group of people was dressed in black and looked a little strange. As soon as they appeared, they quickly formed a hand seal, and a terrifying black aura gushed out of their bodies. Then the space started to distort, as if an alternative channel was being opened. What are they doing? Chu Hutong and the others frowned. They could not tell what was going on. They are summoning the Death's Door. Destroy them. Tianyun's expression changed. His speed exploded and he turned into a beam of light that charged towards the group of people in black. Summoning the Death's Door? How could they not know what the Death's Door was? After their expressions changed, they also charged forward. They did not expect to be met with such a move the moment they came out. Tianyan was also surprised. They could summon the Death's Door without the help of the Death Clan? Upon closer inspection, they seemed to have the aura of the Death Clan. Who knew how much energy they had absorbed from the Death Clan to achieve this? Chapter 2276. Tianyan quickly arrived in front of this group of mysterious people. The thunder saber appeared in his hand, and he aimed at one of them and swung it down. He could tell that as long as he struck down one of them, the gate of death would not be able to open. This was a whole body, and many people were needed to open it. It was not like the Death Clan, where one person was enough to open it. They did not need a lot of people. However, when he swung his saber, a huge figure suddenly charged over from the side and crashed into Tianyan. The lightning that swung down landed heavily on the figure pouncing over. Boom. The figure was cleaved into two and exploded in the air. Correspondingly, the attack was blocked, and the people who had opened the gate of death were not injured. Again. Tianyan did not stop. When he wanted to continue charging over, many figures quickly intercepted him and surrounded him. Tianyan took a closer look. They were all colossal beasts in the late stage of the Grand Star Venerate realm. They had strong bodies and power, and they charged at Tianyan. They are all colossal beasts. Tianyan shouted, informing the experts behind him. They are all colossal beasts. Chu Hutong and the others sucked in a breath of cold air when they saw this. The Grand Star Venerates that kept appearing were actually all colossal beasts. Their numbers kept increasing, and they came out from the sides in a frenzy. They were like a thick city wall, attacking the group. They intercepted them, and did not let them get close to the opening gate of death. Their goal was also very simple. They wanted to open the gate of death and release countless aggrieved souls to devour the experts here. It was that simple. This plan had not changed from what they had said before. The only difference was that the people who would open the gate would not be the Death Clan, but the colossal beasts themselves. It was possible to open it, but the difficulty was higher, and the time it took to open it was a little longer. Hence, they needed a large number of colossal beasts to block them. Otherwise, if they were defeated before that happened, everything would be over. The colossal beasts were expressionless. They turned into steel giants and charged at the group. They did not fear death at all. They seemed to be throwing caution to the wind as they charged at the group. They would block as many of them as they could. Boom, boom, boom. Terrifying attacks came at them, and the sky was filled with dazzling light waves. The forces that were collecting the treasures at the side were so frightened that they hurriedly retreated. Some of the slower ones were hit by the light wave, and were sent flying, vomiting blood nonstop. This was a battle between Grand Star Venerates. Even Star Venerates were sent flying by the light waves, and those with lower levels would be severely injured, even if they did not die. Therefore, all of them ran away. How could they get close to a fight between immortals? They had no idea. How could they get close to a battle between gods? None of them expected that at the end, there would be such a shocking great battle. Everything felt inexplicable. They didn't know that the group in front of them were all from the giant beast race. They thought that it was just a battle between experts. However, as their auras continued to erupt, they clearly sensed a familiar aura from that group of people. It was the giant beast race. Giant beast race? They're actually from the giant beast race? Their expressions changed as they looked at the cultivators who looked exactly like them. They were actually from the giant beast race? Both of them and the figures behind them could tell they were beast. As they were the beasts, the spirit, they a beast they saw. They of beast. Under such circumstances, they recognized it immediately, but still found it inconceivable. How did a cultivator in this form, and of the giant beast clan at that? Even if they knew that the other party was a member of the colossal beast race, it would be pointless. The weakest member of the colossal beast race was an early-stage Great Star Venerate. There were no weaker colossal beasts. This made them unable to help even if they wanted to. As they continued to retreat, a large group of cultivators suddenly charged out from the side. They were all stunned, not knowing what was going on. Just when they thought it was the cultivators who came to help them, they charged over and attacked them without hesitation. After they came to their senses, they quickly defended themselves. As they fought, the aura that the other party revealed immediately made them realize what was going on. The group of cultivators in front of him was actually a mixture of the giant beast race, the green demon race, and the evil spirit race. Their expressions changed. How could there be these people running out, and they were even mixed together? No matter what, they could only brace themselves and fight them head-on. For a moment, the sky changed color, and they all entered the battle. Tianyan frantically tried to break through the defense, but he was blocked. The densely packed giant beast race kept surging over, as if there was no end to them. Damn it, there are too many of them. Even though Tianyan unleashed a powerful force, it was still difficult to break through the defense. At that moment, Tianyan snorted and said, "Come out and help." Coming. A loud shout came from above, and an invincible giant palm pressed down from above. It was like a blue sky pressing down heavily. The powerful power of a divine star venerate could suppress everything. It's divine star venerate Mei Qing. They were overjoyed when they saw it. They did not expect divine star venerate Mei Qing to be there. More importantly, Tianyan seemed to have called him out to help just now. The giant palm pressed down fiercely, and the giant beast race blocking above the door of death were all smashed into meat paste. They could not block it at all. This was the true power of a divine star venerate. When the double-headed dragon star Dharma idol behind him was unleashed, it was the peak power of divine star venerate Mei Qing. Under this powerful force, these great star venerates were easily flattened like tofu. Break. Divine star venerate Mei Qing wanted to directly crush the condensed door of death. At that moment, more than half of the door of death had condensed, and there were vengeful spirits trying to come out from inside. Due to the instability of the space, they could not rush out from inside. They could only keep roaring inside, as if they had smelled the aura of life and wanted to break through the space to come out. Just as this palm was about to press down, a terrifying force came from the side. Boom. Divine Star Venerate Mei Qing's palm was blocked. At that moment, an extremely handsome cultivator appeared in front of everyone. He had a disdainful smile on his face. Sure enough, a Divine Star Venerate powerhouse has appeared. If I hadn't been prepared, I would have been ruined by you guys. Stay here and let these vengeful spirits purify this world. Yi Tianyun looked at the handsome man who had appeared, and his eyes narrowed. The man in front of him was naturally not a cultivator, but a giant beast race. He had a perfect physique without a single flaw, and his cultivation had reached the early stage of Divine Star Venerate. Chapter 2277. It was the first time that Yi Tianyun had seen such a perfect giant beast race. He had really integrated the form of a cultivator to the most perfect degree. Its body wasn't big, but it possessed the powerful physique of the giant beast clan. Not only that, but they could also become more proficient in martial arts, which was the most terrifying part. Originally, they could crush cultivators with pure power. Now that they had the explosive power of martial arts, one could imagine how powerful they were. It could be said that they were much more difficult to deal with than the evil spirit race and the green demon race. The green demon race's physique was not that heaven-defying. Although they were disgusting, the situation of the giant beast race was even more disgusting. This made it very difficult for them to deal with. It could even be said that they were crushed. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing had easily blocked his attack when he had fought against it. One could imagine how terrifying it was. Again, Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing naturally would not let him succeed. He quickly pulled out a dark long sword. This was his sword. It had reached the level of a medium-grade Star Venerable, and was considered a good treasure. Double Dragon Slash. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing waved the long sword in his hand and slashed forward heavily. The double-headed dragon whizzed out of the long sword. The two huge dragon heads bit towards the Gate of Death. His target was not the giant beast race but the Gate of Death. Whether he had signed an oath with Yi Tianyun or not, he would have done so. The Gate of Death was too troublesome. Anyone who knew about it would be scared by it. There were so many vengeful spirits inside, including many great Star Venerables. If there were more vengeful spirits of Divine Star Venerables, it would be terrifying. Therefore, regardless of whether it was a mission or not, Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing had to destroy the Gate of Death first. With me here, do you think you can destroy the Gate of Death? Naive. The handsome giant beast took a step forward. The void shattered as he rushed in front of the attack. He opened his hands and grabbed at the void. He grabbed the two dragon heads and pressed them down with all his strength. Boom! The space was distorted. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing's attack was directly smashed by his palm. Correspondingly, he was also knocked back a distance, but it seemed that nothing had happened to him. At most, his body was a little charred. He had used his power alone to blast apart the power of Green Eyebrow God Star Venerable, which was quite terrifying. Yi Tianyun's eyes narrowed. This was definitely not purely relying on its physique. This gigantic beast must have cultivated some kind of physique technique that could greatly increase its physique. That was why it could produce such a shocking effect. The current giant beast had truly reached a heaven-defying level. At the very least, it could easily suppress Mei Qing God Star Venerable by relying on its physique alone. This power isn't bad, but as an opponent, you're still too weak. His original name was Trembling Dragon, and just as his name implied, he could shake any dragon clan. He was also trying to remember that the five-colored Emperor Dragon was their enemy. This power. Mei Qing God Star Venerable's eyes narrowed, but he laughed and said, "Unfortunately, you still lost." Before he finished speaking, a terrifying divine light swept over and pierced through the door of death. This divine light was not inferior to the attack of Mei Qing's Celestial Star Venerable. It was even slightly stronger, a Divine Star Venerable powerhouse. Another Divine Star Venerable powerhouse rushed out and blasted directly at the door of death in an extremely sudden manner. His speed was astonishing and sudden. However, Trembling Dragon's speed was even more astonishing. He spun rapidly under his feet and suddenly stomped on the ground. With a dong sound, a large part of the void shattered. He also turned into a beam of light and quickly intercepted the divine light. In the end, he had already blocked the divine light before it blasted into the door of death. Boom! The divine light bloomed, but it was still some distance away from the door of death, so it couldn't be destroyed at all. On the other hand, a large part of Trembling Dragon's body had caved in. It was obvious that he had used his physique to forcibly withstand this move. After the surrounding cultivators saw this, they fiercely sucked in a breath of cold air. This was really too heaven-defying. If they had used their physiques to block it, not even dregs would have been left. Trembling Dragon had used his physique to block it, but he had been able to forcibly withstand it. It didn't seem like there was much of a problem. At most, he would have suffered some minor injuries. The large part that had caved in quickly healed as he breathed. Not only did the giant beast race have a strong physique, but they also had powerful healing abilities. What a cunning cultivator. I didn't expect that he would have another helper. This is unexpected. Trembling Dragon's eyes were cold as he looked forward. A white figure appeared on the side. He looked elegant and graceful. He held a feather fan in his hand and looked over with a serious expression. I didn't expect that he would be blocked like this. Divine Star Venerable Jade Mist's expression was solemn. He had been invited to help by Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing. At first, he didn't want to come, but when Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing said that they would deal with the giant beast race, he chose to take action. Moreover, he had been half believing and half doubting. Now, it seemed that the giant beast race in front of him was quite troublesome. If this continued, the door of death would definitely be fully opened. Let's attack together. Let's see how long he can resist. Divine Star Venerable Jade Mist's eyes turned cold. He waved the feather fan in his hand and attacked downwards. Divine Star Venerable Mei Qing didn't say anything else and also attacked. Now that things had come to this, there was nothing more to say. There was only one word: kill. You've come at the right time. Let me see what you can do to me after losing your advantage. Dragon Shocker's eyes were full of killing intent. But more than that, he felt like he had been cleansed of humiliation. Back then, they had been defeated with only their physiques. Now that they had combined all their advantages, they wouldn't be defeated. Boom, boom, boom. One beast against two, they launched a frenzied attack in the air. This area was filled with desolation by the three Divine Star Venerables. Mountains collapsed and the earth cracked. Yi Tianyan could only force his way in. He killed the beasts along the way and broke through. No matter what, he had power close to that of a Divine Star Venerable. After killing his way in, he aimed at the door of death and slashed down. As long as he hit one of them, the door of death would collapse on its own. However, when the saber slashed down, another figure suddenly flashed over. With a light flick of the hand, the sharp saber light disappeared without a trace. It was a beautiful woman, but Yi Tianyan felt an extreme sense of danger. She was a Divine Star Venerable powerhouse. He hadn't expected that there would be a Divine Star Venerable beast lurking on the side. You're quite interesting. You managed to kill your way through so many great Star Venerable beasts, but this is the end. The woman reached out to grab Yi Tianyan. Her hand wasn't big, but it was like an inescapable net. It locked down all of Yi Tianyan's escape routes. He didn't even have a chance to escape. Retreat. That you're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.